Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 213. Got a bunch of things to go over today. We're also going to do a couple of segments leading up to E3. We're doing like the road to E3. We're going to pick a company basically each show as we work up to it, you know, build excitement for E3 since it's back and all this. And today we're starting with Microsoft, and then we'll do like Square and Nintendo and I guess Sony, because they'll probably do something around then too. So it should be a lot of fun doing that. And then we also had some new games come out like Returnal, and we had new Pokemon Snap. And we're also going to be talking about the update for Super Mario Party, because that was very expected, obviously. Let's go around here. I tried to let everyone know a little early just to make sure they had Super Mario Party dusted off and ready to go.
It's always been in the top selling chart. They didn't need your help.
We'll start here with Sean. Sean may or may not be leaving midway through, so don't be alarmed if he just randomly disappears. But It's good to have you here, Sean.
Good to be here. You know, just use the Manscaped Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer for all of my.
Hold on, that spot's not yet.
Not
soon
this week.
No,
not this week. Okay. Sorry.
We will eventually have that one. Don't worry. We'll set you up. We'll set you up with a good one.
My bad.
I appreciate the initiative, though. I appreciate it.
I'm doing good. Good week. It was a nice day out today.
It was nice. It was nice outside. Yes, very good. Very good. Then we have Miss Click, who's already dying of laughter now.
We're good. It's gonna be a good week. I can tell already.
Okay, good. Then we have MVG. Got the nice blurred background there, using that sweet new video card.
What's going on? Great to be here.
Good to have MVG here. Good to have him here. And then we have Jordan French. Jordan French, how's it going?
What's going on? Glad to be here.
Good. I'm sure you're really excited with new Pokemon Snap. Mm-hmm. So we'll be talking about that one. Absolutely. Got OJ, Player Essence. How's it going, OJ?
I happen to be here. I made $25 this week.
Dang.
People asking me. So.
Give the people what they want.
Listen, I said 5, and they will pay the 5 to ask me, and I am here. I have never let people down. It's 100% satisfaction rate with people that are paying for it. 100% satisfaction. I am here though.
And we have Nate the Hate. Nate, how's it going?
Good. I am once again in headlines this week.
Oh, what'd you do?
I had a new episode, and that made headlines.
Did it?
Yes.
Must have missed them.
It's on several websites. It's on Screen Rant.
Which country? Oh, okay.
America and UK this time, amazingly enough. Not China. Not yet, at least. China soon.
I'm going to search Nate the Hate right now. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Let's see.
Probably Nathan Drake from Reset Era would be the better option to search.
Second page. Okay, I'm going to go to third page.
So who had a bigger week while you're doing
okay. Hold on. You might have to drop a link, Nate. Let me see. Wait a minute. Nate Drake. Got it.
That's why.
Yeah, you got to go for Nate Drake.
Let me search up Nate Drake. Let's see. Go into the second page. Okay, Nate. Why don't you just tell me what you made headlines for?
I got it on the first page. Are you using Google? What are you using?
Doesn't everyone just use Bing or Ask Jeeves?
Yeah.
What?
We ain't doing a sponsor drop this episode, so we don't have to mention those.
I use Yahoo.
This episode is brought to you by Ask Jeeves. Do you guys remember Ask Jeeves?
I remember Ask Jeeves.
I loved Ask Jeeves.
I remember Ask Jeeves, yeah.
I remember I used to mess around with this girl, and her boyfriend was a rapper, and his name was Jeeves. So like whenever I'd be like, can you come through? And she'd be like, I don't know. I was like, oh, maybe you should ask Jeeves. And she'd be like, you're an idiot. And I was like,
you're a home wrecker, dude.
Yes.
Yes.
You should like get with one of the Kardashians or something like that, bro. Goodness gracious.
I like how no one brought up Bing at all. Like none.
And it's still a thing too.
It is.
You know what? You should use Bing, because if you use Bing, you get reward points on your Microsoft account, and you can use those reward points to get a free month of Game Pass Ultimate.
And I'm still not using Bing.
Nope.
But you should. That's your error. I have 80,000 Microsoft points, and a month of Game Pass Ultimate is like 7,000 points. So I'm pretty set.
Does it give you more points if you use Microsoft Edge to do it?
Yes. You get 50 a day.
Okay, well,
and
Nate,
if you use Bing on your phone, you get an extra 150 points a day.
Well,
if it's a Windows phone, do you get more?
I think so.
You can just stack these rewards.
You can just keep stacking them. And then if you get achievement points, when you're using your Xbox, you can even you can earn even more points to use toward a future Microsoft purchase.
Nate, why don't you
Tell me
just
less.
tell us? Why don't you just tell us what you made headlines for?
Someone just posted it in the chat.
Did
I was
that?
on a Mexican website too.
Oh,
Level Up article discussing the possibility of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask coming to the Switch.
we
this
talked
fiscal
about that
year.
like we talked about like
It
3
made
months ago.
headlines this week.
We talked about that a long time ago.
It made headlines this week. I
okay,
don't know why it took this long, but it did.
Hey, at least it got there, right?
Exactly.
Okay, and we have Evan. Evan's here monitoring chat, all of
Yep.
that. Make sure you check out the shop as well for all the cool artwork and stuff he's doing for the shirts. Wait, when's that Spawncast 200 shirt going away?
The special edition, I think
Yes.
it's next month. It's
Okay,
near the end
okay.
of next month, I think. I'd have to double check that.
Okay.
It's on the actual thing. The black and white will still stay around.
Okay. Well, before we go into the games we've been playing, I do want to touch on one that I'm sure Sean did at least mention on Twitter. Got some backlash for it, so I thought I'd ask him about it. Sean, how was Second Extinction for you?
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. The thing is, they reeled me in with the dinosaurs.
So I
was-
played this as well, but I want to see what I played it once, and I was like,
well, see,
All right.
I did that initially, and then I was like, no, I don't think that's fair. Let me play it. I actually I ended up completing a couple runs with other people. First off, you cannot play the game by yourself.
I
at
played it for
all.
2 hours.
Okay.
One
I
night. I was like, I'm just gonna play it for 2 hours and see how this goes.
I
while-
probably
while
played it
doing
for
other
about
stuff.
4 or 5,
Yeah.
maybe.
Okay, so I didn't play that long.
You can't play it by yourself. It's impossible.
I
You'll
figured
die.
this out after like 2 runs. I was like, okay, this isn't working out.
And then it's just there's nothing to it. Like there's no substance to it. Like the missions are like, oh, go here. Oh, you have to plant a bomb here. Oh, you should go out. Oh, look, the dinosaurs are here. And all the dinosaurs kind of look the same. And the lighting in the game is really distracting. Like especially when you're doing it when you're playing at night within the game. Like I found the lights to be extremely distracting, and just the whole lighting system. I think it could be good, but I don't think it's going to be good. Like I think there's some decent concepts in there, but there's it's a game that's going to rely on the gameplay, and I don't think the gameplay is that good.
Oh, I see Jeff Grubb in the chat. We should have brought him in here so he could have told us all about Returnal.
If he wants to
It's,
come in here, I think I still got it.
Yeah, Jeff, if you want to come in, you can. We're talking about Returnal, and I'm
Do
sure,
the right thing,
nice.
Jeff. Avoid
I think
social
that went over like really well on Twitter. So we should have
That's what I was saying. I was like, he was like the 2 stars of the week was Jeff Grubb and Nate. I mean, Jeff had some interesting conversations this week on Twitter. It was fantastic.
I mean, he gave the medium a 10 out of 10. He didn't even play it. Bastard.
I got a lot of heat for
Oh, you
saying
should have heard. You should have heard what I gave the medium.
that Second Extinction feels like a Game Pass game. My DMs blew up, and like I got like walls of text from people. They're like, "That's not a good thing to say because you're pushing a PlayStation." I'm like, "Have you ever fucking listened to me talk? Like, I always talk about how I love Game Pass. All because the game is like Game Pass doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that Hold on a fucking second.
What was that?
I am currently working. I'm on a podcast with 2,000 people. Please text. Thank you. Bye.
Is that grandma?
No, it's some girl.
Oh,
Yeah, but it's just the whole thing about the Game Pass thing is the Game Pass narrative about a game going to Game Pass on day one exists because there's been a lot of sketchy games that have gone on Game Pass on day one, games like Bleeding Edge. You haven't gotten, all because you're adding in those older Bethesda games and older games. That's a good thing. That's bolstering the lineup. But until the new games start coming out, and Outriders, Outriders was a good game that a lot of people seem to enjoy, the show as well. But until you get those first party exclusives, there's always going to be that sort of little, those little snide remarks. It was a joke at the end of the day, but people took that shit to heart.
I make a lot of those jokes on Twitter, and sometimes it does get a bit out of control.
You have to go back. Did you really just answer your phone and say, "I'm on a podcast with 2,000 people"?
he threw the stats out there, Nate.
And
Well,
just threw your
she
phone
should
down?
call back because now it's 2,200.
Hard
Oh,
flex.
God. Oh, man.
Flooded over there. Jeez, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so Second Extinction, it's definitely a game preview game, is what I would have said. It's in game preview. It certainly needs some work, but I mean, they just put it out there on Game Pass. They figure people will check it out. Is it on PC as well?
Yes,
I
I saw
Yeah.
BG was saying that he tried it out on PC a couple months ago, and
Yeah,
he
it's
didn't like it
it's
either.
been in early access, I think, for a while. I've been seeing that game on Steam for a very long time.
How much does it cost? How much does it cost on early access on Steam? Do we have a price on that? I'm just
I'd have
curious.
to pull it up.
Okay, maybe we can look into that. But yeah, it's going to take a bit of time for, I think. I mean, I like the premise because it's like multiplayer Turok, basically. Like Left 4 Dead Turok, basically, right?
Like,
it's like, okay, I see what they're getting at.
It has a good
it's like
idea.
1874 right now, I think.
It's
Was
just
this the game they announced last year with the
Yes.
dinosaurs? Was
Yeah.
that-
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
That's a shame then.
Yeah. It just needs more. Like, it just needs more content. I guess they just want to put it out there and get feedback while they're working on it. Which, I mean, it's very clearly labeled game preview. So I'll check back in a year, see what happens. It's kind of
when
the way I
is it
look at
supposed to come out? Like the full product?
I don't. Do they even know?
These
Like,
things get road mapped, and you never quite know, and it all depends on how they handle it. Like GTFO is kind of the same way. I've been playing that this week, but it's doing it a little better, I think, just because every time they do an update, they basically change all the levels in the game, give you all new missions. So I just feel like it's being handled wrong, I guess, in this instance. When you have other games like Killing Floor, which is basically what you just described me, and it's already better.
Oh, Killing
sounding.
Floor is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like we would play that all the time back in the day.
Yeah.
The first one was great. They had the one where you basically had to wipe out Santa at the end.
Yep,
They
that was
had, like,
the
Christmas
holiday
one.
event. Yeah, and they have Killing
That was
Floor 2,
good.
which is the same thing but more stuff. So
Yeah. So okay, so let's go over. We're gonna talk about new Pokemon Snap first, just in case Sean has to move along as we go through the show, because you played. I mean, you played quite a bit of it, didn't you? I assume you were. I'm gonna assume you and Jordan and Miss Click played the most of it out of all of us, because I did see OJ, myself, Nate, and MVG all talking about Returnal. So I'm just gonna assume that MVG, Jordan, and Miss Click played new Pokemon Snap more. I played about 2 hours of new Pokemon Snap so far since I got it yesterday.
Probably only played about 4 or 5 of that as well.
Okay.
I played about
I
an
didn't-
hour.
I didn't play too much more than that, to be honest.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. What are we thinking, Jordan? I'm going to Jordan, the expert, the Pokemon expert.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I think, taking the concept of what Snap was back in the day and implementing a lot of good changes to make the gameplay feel more rewarding, more that there's a purpose to do a lot more, rerun the same tracks at day or night to get the certain photos, to get the rankings. So
I like the
it
day-night
feels
thing.
purpose. Yeah,
I like the day-night.
there's a lot of little things you can do to, get the Pokemon to react to you, to do a certain pose, to just react to the world. So the different amount of photos that you can capture or get for rankings is pretty in depth. I know there's only like 200 and something Pokemon in the game at launch, which is whatever. It's whatever they choose for this. I don't want to get into that, but for graphic wise, it's pretty impressive to see that they've held up ever since that announcement trailer.
Yes.
That exact look the whole time. There was no like lies. It wasn't like, oh, this is just the preview cutscene. Like, no, the game actually looks
Is this
that good,
Is this one of the best looking games on the Switch right now?
hands down.
I'd
Is it
say
Hands
so,
down,
yeah.
top 3 probably.
looks good
I
on
kinda
your
think it
Snap
is.
Station too. Looked pretty good.
It funny enough looks great on an old CRT.
Yes, well, CRTs
And
blend that out, so it's always great.
it just looks
I
fantastic.
kind of think this makes sense that it should look that good, because you're technically on rails and you're not walking up to the Pokemon
Right.
necessarily. Like you're not even like walking around the alley. Like, I'd be really curious if somebody like Boundary Break or something, like, goes around and just kind of zooms out and just sees behind like the rocks or something that are over there, or just see how much they had to cut down on that end to make it look as good as it does. It does. I mean, it legitimately looks really good. So
I don't expect Arceus next year, Arceus Legends, to look as good, because that's still a full open world game now.
I think that game needs a bit more help, and that could
Yeah.
come in the way of that revision.
Sure.
Like that Switch. I think that's what most people are going to look
I
at.
do
as,
think
like,
it'll look a lot better than what we saw, clearly. But obviously, to get to where
Gotta be
Snap
honest,
2
can't look
is,
much worse.
Snap 2 is the benchmark for Pokemon that relies on the fact that it's not a regular Pokemon game. So
So, have you played a good bit of new Pokemon Snap, Jordan? Because there was one thing that came up in a review, and I'm curious about this one, because there was the one thing I really liked about the original Pokemon Snap, and like I said, I got a ways to go for this one, but the thing that I really liked was you would go through courses and you would have Pokemon evolve. Like, you would do things in the level to get them from point A to point B, or trigger like an evolution or something. But in one of the reviews I saw, they mentioned that there was just like that didn't happen really in this game.
I mean, I haven't encountered. I haven't really read any reviews. I was getting the game regardless of someone telling me it's good or bad. I haven't ran into anything like that yet. I mean, I maybe it is in the game, maybe it isn't in the game, but at least the amount of stuff and how the Pokemon interact with each other, I think, has been pretty cool. And then based upon if you're throwing fruit or the special, glowing, I forgot the name off the top of my head, but to do a lot of the
Illumini or whatever.
The Illumini, yeah. So like there's cool stuff you can do to interact with the world, and I like it. It does feel like there's a real purpose to go on these tracks over and over again, which when replaying Pokemon Snap, it's very much like, oh, it's fun, and you can do a couple cool things, string Pokemon along, or hopefully get a really cool shot. But other than that, and Professor Oak saying, hey, that's a good photo, it's not really too much more than that. So the new one definitely fixes that.
I noticed there were a lot of people who probably weren't too familiar with the first one, because when I would ask poll questions and stuff, they'd come back in the comments be like, wait, all you do is take pictures of Pokemon? It's like, yeah, that's it.
I literally had a conversation with someone who was saying that they're like, I don't know if I want to pay full price for Snap, but I watched them on their stream and they were playing Breath of the Wild, and what they were doing was spending majority of their time on stream going around and taking the photos to complete.
You know what? Now is when, with photo mode and all this stuff in like all these games, everyone really wants it. Now is the time that Pokemon Snap should exist with that.
And they were playing that, and then I was like, you're doing that in your other game anyway, and you could do it with Pokemon, and they're like, good point. Then they got the game and they've been hooked on it since they picked it up. And it's great. Plus, I think a lot of people are having fun with the photo editor. I've seen a lot of edits on Instagram, people doing a lot of, I've been, printing out certain photos here and there because I connected the Switch to the original Snap Station from Blockbuster back in the day. I have it connected to there.
You getting that printer too? The one from Fujifilm?
I will get that one because that basically takes all the work I've done to make this system do that and makes it a $120 device. So I will get the Pikachu one when that one drops, just for the novelty of it. But yeah, what up, Jeff?
Yeah, not much. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Jeff Grubb's here. Let me add him to the description. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I figured I'd come on and talk about Returnal. You guys can finish talking about Pokemon first, though.
So where's my copy of Elden Ring?
I told you in your chat, I'm using it as a coaster right here, man. I got my beer on it.
Man. Jordan, I have a question. So how did you get your Switch to connect to a CRT? Because I'm very interested in how you did that.
It's a lot of cable management. I have the Switch running through an HDMI that goes to the red and the three color cables, the composite.
Mm-hmm.
And those run. I have a switcher now, so I have 3 consoles plugged into it. I might add a Wii to it just for fun, but I have the N64 in the inside. I had the GameCube, and I have the Switch now on there. So I have 3 of 4 ports now on a switcher that I can go at any time to work on the TV. And then through there, I had more wires going from that to the printer, then back through the output, so it can all work in unison of printing out the photos from what's actually on the screen from the Switch. And I can do it with any game on any console and make it print.
That's interesting.
So it's pretty cool. It's not super complicated. It's just annoying with cable management. There's a lot of cables that, luckily there's a lot of empty room in the back once you pull everything out. So
hold on,
a lot of cables running.
Pokemon Snap does gyro and handheld mode too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So do you has anyone tried that where they just move the system around while they're in handheld mode to try to take pictures? Is that weird?
I haven't tried in handheld. I did notice with the gyro though, it didn't work as well in unison with the joystick as well. It was kind of like one or the other.
Okay.
That was a little annoying. I will say for me though, I hadn't played the original Snap. It just wasn't something. And to be honest, as a kid, I don't know if I would have really wanted to. And I didn't see the appeal. When the new trailer came out, I was genuinely like, "Oh, this is cute," but you literally just take pictures of Pokemon.
See that,
That's
Sean?
it?
She started with the sequel, which means she can start with Resident Evil 4.
No, that means that you have a good background.
How you connected that, bro? That's like not
the distance traveled for that was
that was a long jump, Olympic style, baby, world record.
That was a bowl reach.
You guys can't complain about this joke being dead. This is his channel. He can do what he wants.
So Resident Evil 2 then. She can start with Resident Evil 2.
Oh my god!
No, the joke is okay, but just the reach that he did to get to
Resident Evil. We'll do Resident Evil 2 remake, the sequel, right? We'll do that.
You're missing out on why the whole Raccoon
You just start with
City.
But I mean, she just got thrown into the mix here with new Pokemon Snap. All of a sudden, she was taking pictures, and they got like the fruit they're throwing. Where'd all this come from? See, we would have the origin story was on the 64.
You were such a troll.
No story. Professor Oak captures children and makes them take pictures.
He did.
I swear I hate the little fucker in new Pokemon Snap, like your sort of rival guy or whatever who comes along who's like, I'm training with this photographer guy, not you. It's like, piss off. Like, what's wrong with you? He annoys me. I like the game though. I like the original game. So it's the one thing I could see though is that if you didn't like the original game or you didn't play the original game and you don't care about Pokemon, this game will do absolutely nothing to make you care about it. Like it's a very relaxed game. You sit there. It's almost like an on-rail shooter puzzle game because you have to figure out what to do to lure Pokemon to make them do certain things. I do like how there are like little branching paths that you can discover in the levels as well to get into different areas. I thought that was really cool. Really good looking game, but you know, I do have nostalgia for the original Pokemon Snap. Sure. I loved playing it on the N64. So I think that if you didn't have that same nostalgia and you're a grown ass adult, like it might miss you. And like, that's cool. I would understand that.
Okay.
It's for the fans. It's directed for the fans and for people who maybe are just kind of like Pokemon, but are kind of maybe, I'm not
like kids will probably love it because you get to see all these Pokemon, you know, close up. And obviously their models look very nice and you get to see them interact with other Pokemon and make them do things like a little Score Bunny when he does his little fire kick. You gotta make him do his fire kick and get a picture of that. So like I can see, you know, kids digging that and stuff.
I think it's you know, one of those things that was, you know, for 21 years a joke. It was like, oh, Pokemon Snap 2 when? And then then the Wii U came out. It's like, okay, it's possible. We have a peripheral and it still didn't happen.
We missed the one that was perfect for it.
And to now actually have it, like regardless of it just being like maybe a one-time thing, then maybe they don't never make another one, but it kind of feels like this one is for that, like, you know, fan group. It's like, all right, we made the sequel, but we actually made it with some love for the anniversary this year. Like it's not just a half-assed port or a new version that doesn't have a lot to it. It does seem that there was a lot of love put into this one from the creators, so I will say that's pretty cool to see in a Pokemon game, because a lot of recent Pokemon games ain't getting too much love from fans, and this one definitely seems like it definitely catered to the fans and making sure they were happy with it.
Well, it was interesting though because the game was made because of the great work that they did with Pokken. So the fact that they did such a great job with Pokken, so that hey, you guys can do something else, you know. So I think that's pretty dope because Pokken is awesome. Like the game looks great, you know. Like it looks graphically, Pokken still looks really good, even though like the base of the game is like just like the Wii U. So so that was pretty cool that they gave them like another game like to work on because of the great work on Pokken. So
this gonna be a good streaming game for you, Click.
I mean, to me personally, it's good. It's adorable. It's cute. But I think going through the same path, like me personally, again, I didn't really grow up with Pokemon. So I'm definitely more into the turn-based stuff is fun as well. But for most part, like I'm most excited about trying out this open world when it comes out. That's a make or break, I think, for a lot of people in branching out and trying Pokemon that never really got to. So I did like it. And it was really cute and enjoyable. I could see myself doing that more of when I'm wanting to just like veg and not have like a super intensive gameplay, but most of the time I'm I'm really enjoying Monster Hunter because of how fast the combat is, you know, or Overwatch or Splatoon, whatever. I'm just more into like the high octane kind of games, but it's nice.
Cool. Evan, we have Discord question over there.
Yeah, we got a couple. Actually, we have one for Nate specifically, which I was happy to see because we did talk about this. This guy's been seeing a lot of VTubers kind of becoming a thing, and he was wondering if Nate would ever take on a VTuber persona.
I like this. I like this. Okay.
After an episode, we did try to get him to be an anime girl for an episode because we thought it'd be hilarious for that voice.
I tested that out. It didn't run well, and Evan and I have discussed coming up with a character creation that looks like Nexus from Fern Gully.
Yeah, basically just living Smog with the mask face type thing.
Oh my god.
So we thought about that. Maybe one day it'll become reality. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, what about the Power Rangers dude, like the Zordon or whatever his name is, or like that dude that's like maybe something like that.
That would be
Like
pretty cool.
like a floating like Nate the Hate face. Like heck yeah, man.
Yeah, I would like to see that, Nate, especially if you get quoted in some like articles or something and they have to link back to your page and it's just you as like a floating Zordon head.
Prominent VTuber, Nate the Hate.
Hey, maybe one day.
I like
maybe
the
one
sound
day.
of this. Okay, we got another Discord question, Evan, then we'll move into Returnal.
We did just talk about snaps. So we got a guy who gave up on Spiritfarer very early on because he had no clue how to progress. And he was wondering if Pokemon Snap might feel the same way for him. I know some people were complaining about it, but there were others who said they just had
because
to, like,
there are
read
times
stuff.
where it's kind of aimless sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you don't really know what to do necessarily. That was another thing that I saw come up in some reviews. People were like, we just kind of went through levels until things happened. So maybe, but what's that, Jordan?
Take photos.
Take photos. Yeah, just start taking pictures. The nice thing is, I guess the levels don't take super long to get through necessarily. So you just kind of go through them a couple times, just kind of get more points, I guess, until a certain thing like kicks off or triggers or something in the game for you to keep going. So yeah.
I know this is going to defeat the purpose, but part of me was like, I wish I could like speed up a little bit going through the course, because when you do have to go several times to go through it, I was just like,
this will be
dragging on.
I agree with that. Like sometimes, like I just want to go in and do something specific. And
Yeah.
it's like, let me just sit here.
Can you imagine having the ability to be like, all right, I'm gonna go fast. I can stop here. I don't have to move. And I can just wait and take photos. Like,
It would probably ruin the game.
They
yeah,
probably have
probably.
things that are tied to the movement.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the
literally
character animations are
something.
based on where you are.
I think there was something that happened yesterday. I went back to like the first like Illumini, like where you're with Pokemon. I call it Megan, whatever, the flower Pokemon. Yeah, I call her Megan. But it literally something happened. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a glitch or something, but you know, like you get the second little surprise when you go back after you have the orbs and stuff, and you have the cute little. But anyways, it like the Pokemon just stopped. It was just sitting there, and I was like, "Why is there no animation? I'm throwing apples at him, nothing's happening." And then I finally got to like the next part in the track, and then they started moving again. So yeah, it was like all tied, you know, to the animations and stuff. I just thought it was funny because I was throwing apples at it and it wasn't doing anything.
Okay, so let's go into Returnal. Jeff was in the news for that. That was fun.
Returnal.
I saw you in the chat. I was like, yeah, let's get Jeff in here. We're gonna talk about Returnal.
We had a lot of fun today. Jeff, shout out to Jeff coming by the stream too. He came by earlier. Everyone was glad to have you there, man.
Yeah, it was fun to hang out for sure. Yeah, I'm just like kicking it with my kids. I'm like, I'll see what OJ's doing. Yeah, we'll hang out.
We were having fun.
Well, Returnal came out. We got the reviews, of course, released. And what's everyone think of Returnal so far? Because I've been playing it more than I thought I would at first. I'll say this because the game came out, and leading up to the game coming out, I slowly got more and more sold on the game. Because when they first showed it, I was like, I guess they showed the Housemarque logo, and I was like, well, I'll check it out if it's Housemarque. But the more we've gotten closer and closer, the more gameplay they've shown. Now I have the game, and I'm with MVG. I like the game more than I thought I would originally when I first saw it.
Same.
Like there was that legitimate thought in my mind of $70. Like, yeah, you know, I will get it because it's like I'd like to play something other than a PS4 game in my PS5, but I mean, might as well. So Ratchet and Clank is the next big one that everyone's kind of waiting for on their PS5 from Sony. So I picked it up. I'm playing it. It is a lot of fun, despite some obvious flaws to the game that actually could be fixed later on if Housemarque really gets after it. And they seem to be listening to people about things just as simple as like a checkpoint system or something that is temporary, so that you can turn the game off without putting your system in the rest mode because people are still terrified of it. But Jeff, what'd you think of the game? Because I saw that 60.
Yeah, that's 60. Yeah,
there's a lot of screen caps and stuff flying all over Twitter with a 60 and with Jeff Krubb's name, and it was an interesting conversation, I guess, for people on Twitter.
Yeah, it was. I like the game. It's a good game. I definitely started off higher on it than I finished up, and that was just because of the structure of the game, the way it works. But you know, it's a Housemarque game. Turns out Housemarque makes good, fun action games. They really nailed the combat. It feels good to fire the weapons. I think I'm still a little iffy on the dodge. I think sometimes the dodge, you have to get really good at the dodge move.
Is
you
it-
have to.
Is it an iframe or is it like perfect? Like, is it actually?
No, it is very iframe, and it's very actually generous on that actually. So like almost no matter what, there are certain attacks that you can't like phase through, but most of the time you can, and that feels good. But you have to be very aware of your surroundings, and a lot of time you're looking at enemies that are flying around, and that means you might be dodging, and you might dodge into something else behind you, or dodge off a cliff, and really that's going to take time to get used to. And really, a lot of times, if you don't know where you're going and you still need to dodge to get those iframes, you should just learn to like really master feathering it and just barely touching it, and you'll just sort of move out of the way and move through the bullets. And that's actually, it's a cool skill to learn. All that stuff really works for me. The problem is not the challenge. The challenge is not the problem. It's very good that this game is hard, because if it wasn't hard, there wouldn't be a lot to do. You would just blast through it. You want to get better at the game. The problem is that it doesn't give you a lot of other incentives other than wanting to get through the game. So when you start getting to later levels, and as they get more challenging, you're just facing against this monumental task of getting to the end, and you're not worried about like unlocking weapons like you did in Hades or Dead Cells. You're not worried about like there's just not a lot to offer on like breaking down big tasks into smaller tasks, and like, okay, listen, that run sucked. I did really bad. I got like a really bad roll. There was like a lot of crap stuff. And now, so but at least I like worked towards this other goal. There's not a lot of that stuff. And then when those runs do go a long time, and they can be very long, especially when you kind of learn that, okay, you do need to like max out your build to have a chance on these later levels. You can get, a couple hours into a run, and then when it goes bad, all you're going to remember is that it went bad. You're not going to remember like anything special about your build, because everything kind of feels the same. You're always shooting weapons. You're always, dodging. You're always attacking with the melee, and that stuff is good. But at a certain point, those runs start to blur together in your head, because it's just there's just not a lot of variety to it. And that's stuff that other roguelites have done very well. And I really agree with the sentiment that I think Housemarque is going to hear some of this stuff, because now I'm not the only one saying it. And really, there was a lot of reviews that echoed this as well. But I think that if they take some time and update this game and add in some other stuff, other incentives to sort of break up the combat and that flow, they're going to turn what is a good game that I like into a fantastic game, a great game. And I really hope they get there.
Yeah, definitely. I think the most surprising part about it, though, is Housemarque just taking advantage of everything the PS5 had to offer, whether it was like the load times is very quick, which it needs to be, because like immediately if you die, it just flashes you back to her crashing into the planet and getting out right away. Like it's seriously like a second to get back into the game.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so that they understand that it's like we're not going to show you like a black screen for like 10 seconds or something with like here's a helpful hint or something. But like the big thing in this game has to be that DualSense controller right now, because that DualSense controller with all the stuff they're doing is super impressive right now. Like
you feel everything with it.
Yeah, and I you know what, the halfway press on L2 works better than I thought it would when they first really started talking about it. I'm like, oh, in a game like this where it's a lot of very specific bits of timing and stuff, and it's like I press it halfway and then all the way for the alt fire. It works well. Like it actually feels like you're pressing it and pressing into something for just the initial zoom, and then you actually crush it for like the alt fire.
Yeah, it feels like a GameCube controller, and it works, and it's something I got used to. It's still it stinks whenever you accidentally like really pull the trigger down you didn't mean to. That could still happen. I did end up switching that, but it's got completely customizable controls. So if you don't like something, just change it, and really no complaint there. I will say that I did listen to a podcast yesterday that Dreamcast guy was on. I know he's not here tonight, but he said he had to turn off the haptics because it was too much, and it was causing his hands to go numb. So it was like the rain was like rumbling in his hands, and I'm like, I got that to a certain extent. I was feeling the same way after like long runs and using certain weapons that really make those haptics go crazy. But I'm like also at a point still where I don't want to turn that stuff off ever, because it's like, man, I bought this PlayStation 5 with my own money. I want to like get the most out of it. So I just kept going with it. But I definitely agree with that sentiment to a certain extent.
There were some surprising parts too that I noticed with it, like where it's using the speaker on the DualSense while you're doing other things all at once. But there was this one gun I had. I think it has it's almost like a laser that comes out of it for the alt fire. And I don't think the sound was coming from the speaker necessarily. I think it was coming from the haptic feedback. Like, the rumble motors actually put out like a certain frequency. I think that's where the sound was coming from. I was like, oh, that's so weird because it makes like that synth kind of noise. And I think it was coming from the speaker. Yeah, I think it was coming from the roll motors, like how like we've had the Joy-Cons on the Switch make sound and like that's where
like in Labo.
From.
Yeah, like Labo does that. Yeah. Weird.
I was like, that's interesting. So Housemarque did a lot with the DualSense controller, with the 3D audio. If you have good headphones and you turn it on for this, whether it's those Pulse headphones or just really any that you could use with it that are halfway decent, it is really good. Like, it's super noticeable. You can hear things behind you that are happening, and it actually gives you an advantage in the game as opposed to not having that. So like I am really impressed with Housemarque trying to do everything they can to make it feel like a PS5 game after having, like I said, so many PS4 games we've been playing through backwards compatibility that just have better frame rates and resolution and all of this. So I feel like, I know people were talking about, is Returnal, should it be a $70 game? I mean, technically it's probably the most PS5 game we've had. I'll say that, like the most like a PS5 game out of everything, really.
And people are really going to fall in love with it too, I think. So I think there's going to be a lot of people that are very vocal supporters of it because it's just going to be a kind of game that you can play for forever and get a lot out of. So yeah,
I love the game. I think it's great, and I think it exceeded.
MVG was originally down on this too, by the way. I want to point that out. When we first going into it, you're like, I don't know. Should I get
went
this?
down, but I did pick it up because there was really nothing else to play on my PS5, and I was on like firmware 1, so I thought I'd dust it off and update everything.
People thought I was kidding about that when I said time to plug into the PS5.
I was serious. I wasn't kidding, but I really like the game. I think it actually is better than I thought it would be, but I will say that I don't think it's worth $70.
Okay.
I don't think it's worth $70.
I think that's going to be, I think some people will see it that way because of the type of game that it is. I understand that. So like there are people who said that Demon's Souls wasn't worth $70. And I can understand that because they're just like, I don't get it. It's the same kind of game I played on the PS3. It just looks better and runs better.
I think my question is, what game is going to be worth $70 then?
Ratchet and
Clank looks worth $70.
Yeah, Rift Apart is worth $70. That is a unanimous decision by this panel.
I mean, that they've shown that or Horizon, I guess, right now. God of War is a logo. It and Metroid Prime are hanging out.
Do you basically mean games are going to have like pre-existing series titles behind it?
I like where Miss Click is going with this, because how do we know if a game's 70 or not?
Well, it's subjective at the end of the day. This is extremely subjective based on whatever. Some people say something's not worth 70. That doesn't mean it's like there's not any unilateral type of it's worth this. And I think gamers do that way too much with games. It's based on what you think. You know, if you think it's worth 70, then it's worth 70. If you don't think it's worth 70, then it's not worth 70. And that's that at the end of the day.
Is Sony going to drop the price of Returnal anytime soon, though, do you think?
Interesting, Jeff, you bring this up because when I was looking around for this game, which by the way, super hard to find this game physically. So I would look around for this, to be honest, because I don't know if they're going to really push a lot of these out to stores over the next year. Just putting it out there. But the thing I've noticed, if you go to Walmart, Jeff, I don't know if you've looked around at Walmart's games like in stores or anything, they mark their games down. And it seems like something Walmart does is just try to bring you in. But the one game that they do not mark down are anything from Sony when it comes to the PS5. Even if it's MLB The Show 21, it's marked down on the Xbox, but not on the PS5. It's really weird. I think that's Sony flexing some muscle, probably saying, hey, we know you want to get PS5s in there. Here's the deal. You cannot lower the price of it. Like, it takes a lot of muscle to do that, but Sony has the muscle right now. And if that's important to them, I think that indicates these price drops are just not going to come. Demon's Souls is still 70. Sackboy is still $50 or $60 or whatever. All these games are still full price. I don't think Sony is looking to. I think they're looking to do what Nintendo does this gen. Like, I think they're just like, you know what? The hype is there for the PS5. The games are full price, and they're just going to stay that way. Like, Ghost of Tsushima is still 60, isn't it? Like MSRP.
You can find it. You can find
it at 40.
I think it's never at a discount on PSN. I think for sure. I looked at that for a story the other day, but I don't know about retail.
Jeff, did you beat the game?
Yeah, I did.
So you mentioned before, the motivation, the incentive to continue playing the game. What about the story? Because like that is one part of the game that I'm really intrigued about. Like, I love. I don't want to say anything about the game.
Oh, dude, there was one audio log that tripped me up, actually.
Yeah, I love the audio logs. I love the premise behind the game. I love the house that you just kind of stumble. I mean, I love all that stuff. So can you talk about where the story goes, or was it? I don't want you to spoil it, but can you tell me? Was it kind of rewarding at the end, or did it? Was it kind of forgetful? What was your take on the storyline?
I was intrigued by that stuff at first as well, and I think what happens is the things start the story starts getting spaced out further and further as you go, to the point where you start to lose the thread, or it's not really what you're motivated by anymore. There's long stretches where you won't find audio logs because you're like you are spending hours in the same place that you spent before, and so I was personally like losing that steam. I feel like I found out a little bit more about the house, a little bit more about everything, but by that point, it was not quite as sad. I feel like it was a good setup, and then the delivery wasn't quite as good. I think other people might disagree with that, but that's kind of where I landed on it. But no, there were still some audio logs that like really like John mentioned the one here in like in our chat here where like, I'm like, yeah, that one's messed up. There's a couple others that like suggest some like a really messed up metaphysical stuff, and all of that stuff just adds a ton of flavor to what you're doing. And like a couple of them gave me chills. Like I'm like, oh man, that's just like one of those weird sci-fi ideas. When you start thinking about them, it's cool and just like adds more to what you're doing. But overall, the story it's definitely not like a huge motivating factor when you compare it to something like Hades, where it was like that was why you were playing a lot of times.
Yeah. So
I
go ahead, Jordan.
For me, like I think my favorite thing about it so far, taken away, like I like the gameplay a lot, but it is that world and the world building. Like immediately when you start the game, if you don't feel like you're in some world out of the Alien movies, then it literally has so much symbolism. It uses similar terminology. Some of the stuff you stumble upon, and I'm a huge Alien fan. I mean, I have a whole xenomorph on my arm. Like this is like the perfect world, and I like exploring. Even if I'm dying, even if I'm not progressing super far, the stuff that I'm finding in the game and the areas that I'm exploring, I think have been the coolest part with it, as well as the audio logs and building whatever this story is. I'm, for the little time I've actually spent with it so far, the last day and some, I'm really enjoying it. I wouldn't say definitely 7 yet, but
there's definitely a Prometheus vibe with this game, right?
Oh yeah.
Did you get to the part where she picks up the like one of the parasites and she did the exact thing that the guy in Prometheus does, where he's like, it looks harmless, so I'm gonna pick it up, and like, of course, it jumps on her and starts sucking her blood.
All the parallels from the Prometheus film are in this, from the statues to an old civilization to eggs and the goop and then the parasite. There's so much in this that if you're an Alien fan, this almost feels like it's right out of something that H.R. Geiger, the artist and designer of all that, created, and I love it.
Very good, very good.
Can I say one thing?
Okay, go ahead, Sean. Are you gonna get Returnal?
No.
Okay.
Maybe when it's like $40. I don't like roguelites. I don't like games that are like, oh, look at how hard it is. Like, no. But can I say one thing about reviews? People need to calm the fuck down about review scores. Jesus Christ. The whole point of a review score is review scores don't matter. Okay. At the end of the day, they don't matter. They shouldn't. Well, I should say they shouldn't matter. Of course, they do matter way too fucking much, because that's why Jeff Grubb is here, because now he's villain number one. But when you have a review, read the review. Listen to the review. Don't just look for a number, an arbitrary number at the end of the review. Because if the person who is playing the game has legitimate criticisms and has legitimate issues with the game, then that is justified in their score of the game. It is just one person's opinion. On the other side of the coin, I know a lot of people are sharing that Paste magazine, I think it was, review where the person just like went into some diatribe about Democrats and xenophobia and stuff when talking about Returnal. Okay, that's a review that doesn't make fucking sense. That's a review that you could sit there and say, all right, you know what, this is a terrible review. But if the person doesn't like a game and or has issues with the game and they're backing it up in their speech in their review portion of the game, you can't get mad at that. It is one person's opinion. There are people that like different things in the world. Accept it. If you don't like that review, then just be like, oh, okay, well, this review doesn't really resonate with me. This reviewer doesn't maybe like the same games that I do, and then move on to another review that makes you happy. Like it blows my mind, man. There are terrible reviews out there, but if the person's words justify their thought process and justify a said score, deal with it. Like, that's it.
The number system is like, really messed everything up, because it's like if it's anything less than an 8, it's like a problem for people.
And it's so frustrating, because like we switched to a 3 out of 5, or a 5-star system after being on a 100-point scale for a long time, and we wanted to get away from the 100-point scale because it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not like you can break down the 5-star system like, oh, I hate it, I don't like it, I like it, I love it, and it's one of my favorite games of all time. It makes a lot of sense, but in order for people to argue about it, like no one says 3 out of 5. No one says, oh, Jeff Grubb gave it 3 stars and I'm mad about that, because it's not very inflammatory. They have to convert it into the 60 in order to get mad about it. And whenever they do that, almost for sure they didn't read the review, because they're just looking at a screenshot that someone posted in their goddamn Discord, and they're like, oh man, he's like, and they'll highlight just the phrase where I'm like, the game was hard. Oh, too hard for him. Too hard for him.
My God.
And it's like, okay. It's like, and like they're like, people get mad, like, well, Jeff, you're being pretty like curt with the people on Twitter. You're being pretty rude to them. I'm like, I can tell that they didn't read it. Like, I don't know why you want me to like waste my time pretending that this is a good faith argument. So most of the time
you can even go further than that. Is you played the game, they haven't. Their opinion is invalid. They don't know what the game is, and they just shopped around to find a score that suits their preconceived notion of what the game is in their mind. So they went around saying, Returnal's a 9 to me. I haven't played it, but that's what I want it to be. Let me see who gave it a 9. Jeff Grubb gave it a 3 out of 5. That means he's wrong and he sucks. Based on what? What criteria did he fail to live up to in these individuals' minds? If you read the context of the review, you can walk away from it and say, all right, when I play the game, maybe I'll walk away and say his critiques were valid. I wouldn't have been as harsh as him. That's fine. Like, you had people come back to you after Cyberpunk and say, your review was spot on. I apologize for being an asshole.
That one's so fun, because like it's the exact same story. I give it a 3 out of 5. People got mad at me, and then my coworker was on Twitter like, remember the last game you gave a 3 out of 5 to, and everyone got mad at him about was Cyberpunk, and everyone's like, yeah, because it was too high. I'm like, you motherfuckers, I'm going insane.
Oh my God.
So it's a good thing, because if I did reviews, I would use the entire 10-point scale, and I'd be canceled like the next day. So 5 would be average for
Probably
me.
Not, John. When you
a lot
say
of 5s to be given out.
Probably not, John. When you say something, it's okay. By the way,
like, I do say certain things, and it's okay.
But if I say it, or if somebody else says it, it's like kill him. Or trust me, I've seen you say certain things, and I was going to test it. People say this fanboy, idiot, loser, no pro.
I was going to test it today and just tweet out Returnal is worth $70 and see what happens.
You'd be okay, John. People kind of bow down when you say stuff.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, thanks for having me on. I'm gonna go eat some dinner. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the chance to get that off.
Jeff.
Yeah, you guys have a good night. I'll be listening.
Bye.
All right, Evan, we got Discord question.
Oh yeah, we still have a couple. Let me see. Do YouTube creators get paid more for views from YouTube Premium members?
Yes.
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 I think there was a stat that like YouTube said something. It was a while ago where they're like, if everyone on YouTube had YouTube Premium, apparently they'd be able to pay creators like X amount of times more or something. So apparently, yes, that's my take. So yes, Premium, even though you'll see ads, like the monthly amount they after averaging it out is actually worth more technically per view.
I couldn't imagine going back to non-YouTube Premium, because I have YouTube.
I have Premium, yeah,
and it's just like, it's just so much better. I was watching Vice last night because they started doing Dark Side of the Ring 3, and they did the Brian Pillman thing. Holy Christ on a cracker. It was a 45-minute episode, and it was 1 o'clock, and I was like, all right, well, I'll finish it up. I'll go to bed at 2. You know what time I went to bed? It was like 2:40, because every 4 minutes they would have 4 ads that you would have to watch unskippable on Vice. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, it literally took forever to get through the episode. And so I started looking on YouTube. I was like, maybe somebody's uploaded it on YouTube, and they had it. And I was just like, I need to see the end. But Jesus, man, this is tough.
Yeah, that show just has a lot of ads in it in general. Even when they do the Dark Side of the Ring Confidential, they're sitting at the desk. They're like, we're going to talk more about the Montreal Screwjob after this. 10 minutes of ads. They come back. Let us talk about the Montreal Screwjob. They're like, here's Bret Hart. Something happened. Ad. I'm like, I've been watching you for 25 minutes, and all I've seen is Bret Hart sitting like staring at the screen, and the 3 hosts sitting at a desk. I'm like, can I get to the show? Like, what's wrong with Vice? do you really have no viewers? I don't understand.
They have so many though. They have so many different YouTube channels and all that. It's bizarre. Bizarre.
Evan, we got another Discord question over there. I'll
What-
pull up some of the super chats now before we go to Microsoft.
What's everyone's favorite monster in Rise?
Ooh.
Kuga. I like Narga Kuga.
I'm terrible at names, but
What's
what's the big long sort of black bat like thing?
Oh,
Is it-
the one that's eyes go red when it's
That's Narga Kuga.
yeah.
Narga
Oh, okay.
Kuga.
Yeah. He's I love that dude.
I like
He
the
just looks so cool.
Rajang. Rajang is baller.
I haven't.
Or the
played it.
T-Rex one. The T-Rex one is dope.
T-Rex or
shit.
what's his name?
Yeah.
Yes, like that
T-Rex,
orange
I
one.
think.
Look what I got for my birthday.
Whoa.
Oh, nice.
It's Narga Kuga.
Oh.
Do they have a
Hey.
Was it like
Rajang
a
one? I might
figure
actually
or
buy
like a
that.
statue?
Huh?
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, it's from Monster Arts.
Oh.
You don't have to
Cool.
build it
Bandai?
or anything, right?
No, it's a full replica. Yeah, Narga Kuga.
Oh, that's cool.
That's
That
fucking
one, right?
dope.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Look into that, Sean.
I know. How much was it? Did you look?
Oh, I was a birthday gift, so I don't know.
Hmm.
I didn't ask.
We gotta see how much they're spending.
What? I don't go looking. It's all in Japanese though, so I don't know if they had to import it
Oh,
or something. but-
You know what the best thing about my uncle is? Whenever he buys Christmas gifts, he always buys them all at Marshall's and always leaves the price stickers on it. It's like, why did you do this? It's like, it's too much work.
Wait, what company is that from? Because I'm looking at a Rajang model that's $100 that looks in similar quality. I'm gonna pick that up.
Nice.
The Monster Arts? I love Rajang too. Rajang's pretty cool. But I will say Magnum Malo, honestly.
Magnum is dope as shit.
That's
yeah.
it. Yeah.
And he's got like obviously then the amiibo, but the music, his theme song is so cool too. And then is it Xenogar? Xenogar, the electric dog.
version.
Yeah,
of him,
Xenogar. Yeah.
Xenogar, he's got a really cool theme too. I love when
All
they give
the
him like
themes
the
are
personal
good.
tracks. Yeah, but
Yeah, all the-
some slap
like-
harder than others.
Do you like Kezu's theme?
He has no theme. It's
Okay,
like
I'll try to see if I can get you.
like you're just sitting there and it's like he looks awkward. There's no music, so it's already awkward.
It's the
and you're
tumor
like,
bat,
okay.
man. It's the tumor bat.
No, it's Phallic Man.
Let's go.
That's his name.
Let's go to some of these super chats here. We have Bench saying it should auto save every time you get to a teleporter. That's for
I
Returnal.
wish.
The auto saving or the checkpoint stuff. That was a
Yeah.
big point there for a little while. I don't have any issue with them doing some sort of like quick save or temporary save if you have to step away and then it just destroys the save when you load from it, so you can't keep reloading from it.
Yeah, Dead Cells does that. Yeah.
Because then you don't have to
Yeah.
put it in rest mode. There's still a lot of concern around rest mode.
Yeah, my PS5's on rest mode, by the way.
Oh, I put it
It's-
in rest. I'm not
So is
in
mine.
rest mode.
I never used rest mode.
Mine has been in rest mode. Unless there's been a power outage, has been in rest mode since the day I got
But
it.
there's also the idea that maybe you just like want to play something else at that time for the PS5, but you're on like a good
Mhm.
run, or maybe a friend comes over and like, yo, let's play, some other game with multiplayer or something. I don't know. There are other things that can happen other than just having to necessarily step away from the PS5. So it seems like
That'd
they
be a dump. Like, come on.
what? You can pause it. You can
Oh.
pause it. Yeah, it's just you won't be able to
Hey,
do.
some games you can't pause. Shit.
Souls
Yeah.
games don't allow you to pause.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
why I
that's
stopped
true.
playing them. I'm like, screw this game. Like, screw this series.
There's
I'm like,
also-
you can't pause.
There's also some crashing. Like I went in the
That's the other
first
thing.
world. I got to the end boss and I crashed and I almost rage quit like immediately.
Oh.
But I went back and beat it like after the fact. But like it would be really nice if you could save it like
the
teleported.
crashing, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, that is a problem. Like if you go through a door and it checkpoints there just for temporarily, just in
Yep.
case it does crash. Because if you're going through an entire run, because I think I have to double check. I think one of the trophies is just beat the whole thing in one run. And if you go through the whole thing and you get right to the end, you're like, I'm gonna get this trophy, and it crashes. That would hurt.
Oh,
So
I'm suing Housemark and Sony if that happens. Yeah.
I've had no
We out here legally.
yet.
Let's see. Anna Studio says, I want Mother 3 localized, but I won't buy it. I think Nintendo expects that from quite a few people. So
I don't know why that's funny, but it is.
I mean, yeah, Marky says if you ain't got the money, you don't get the honey. Oh, when is the promo coming? I only tune in now for a honey. Hey, another honey promo coming next month, right, Sean?
Yeah, sure.
Sean's looking around online.
Hey,
see what-
secure the
what's-
bag.
What's making its way into the next promo?
I just got $5 off on honey the other day on my 30-inch sub that I got. Ooh, I haven't finished that yet.
30 is
This man's still eating those 38 subs.
I just make them last longer now.
Ah, okay. Sorry, smart.
Try to.
Yeah.
Tijo says, "Can we get some Fs for Toys for Bob?"
Yeah, that's what was
That's
in there
what-
before.
Apparently, well, never mind. I think Activision came out and said that they are still keeping like the team
Yeah.
around a bit, but that might have been PR. That might have been PR based on some other things.
There's some people who are there and there's some people who aren't. It's
Yeah.
sad. There's still, if you're looking forward for more Crash and more Spyro, there's still something happening. Don't worry about that. I'm just sad that Toys for Bob isn't the one. You know, they're not the ones really curating it right now, which is unfortunate. They might support, or they might take over, or they might continue in the future. But right now, they're relegated to some Call of Duty, which is very, very exciting. And if I've never played Warzone because I haven't, I surely will not now.
Swift says Returnal is so good. Who know it would be a hit. Carlos says, thinking of the Joy-Con drift and other 3 situations had me wondering when was the last time Nintendo actually visibly responded to a public outcry. Was it the Mario Maker 2 multiplayer?
Mario Maker 2 multiplayer might have been it. Yes and no.
Kind of. Yeah. Yes and no, because the feature was planned. They just weren't going to announce it when they did, so they announced it preemptively to calm.
Yeah, but they mentioned the outcry though. I thought in the announcement.
Yeah, but that's just good PR of like, oh, we were going to announce this in 3 months, but everyone's mad about it now. Let's just announce it now and say, oh, it's because of the outcry. It was just optics.
But they did respond to it, basically, like legitimate, like they actually responded to it. Like in the sense of this question, when did they respond?
Yeah, I guess in the sense of the question, they did, but it was already a pre-planned thing. It's not like Nintendo said, "Oh shit, let's actually do better." It was, what can we do really quick? So
let's tell them it's coming. Basically, it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's it.
Wait, I gotta hold on. Cut off. It says Xbox will never be better. TH. Nate, you will never ever be important. Cope Xbot. I want to read it because I think it's I want to say it's Xbox will never be better than Stadia, but I can't tell.
Stadia.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh well.
I mean, find the lie.
There's the cliffhanger right there. Veluxian says, I'm 60% certain if it weren't for Rona, the SMP Online update wouldn't have been a thing. Oh, for a Super Mario Party. We'll be talking about that a little later on. Braun says, death is too stupid for Mr. Zircon. Lewis says, Pokemon Snap is what a mainline Pokemon photo mode would be if Game Freak made nice looking games, or am I just a GameCube boy that doesn't get it? I think I think they're but I think they're able to do a bit more since you're not actually like exploring on your own around these environments necessarily. I think they're able to make it work a little easier.
It's only capable because they don't have to make a whole exploration game around it. It's just you go in one direction and you move the camera around.
Dan says, thanks for covering the Scott Pilgrim theatrical re-release around a year ago. Might not have heard about it otherwise. It was a transcendent experience in a theater. Tariq says, Returnal is great, but that $70 price will kill it. I think there will be a lot of people who are like, I don't know, I'll wait for a sale, then just the sale never comes. So Braun says, finished Battletoads earlier and had fun. Returnal says, Xbox at E3, Don Matrick is back in charge. You know what? Don Matrick was right 8 years ago. There you go.
He wasn't.
he knew the future. He knew the future.
Too much. He thought TV was the future, and it's more about streaming services and Twitch and all that.
The Kinect thing was off, but he knew everyone was going to go online. We're going to be connected online. Yeah, the Kinect was not right, but he knew it was going all DRM, all online eventually. He's just too early. Too early. Puck says, first world problems, Nate face reveal or down payment on a car. Enjoy my new ride. Truly Epic says, sorry if this is off topic, but I'm about to start playing Half-Life for the first time. Is it okay that I bought Black Mesa rather than the original?
It is okay. Black Mesa is great.
All right, there you go. MVG seal of approval. Ari says, oh, thanks, Dude Bros, for making Activision kill off a quality platformer so they can continue to suck the money from you marks with more COD mediocrity.
I like how I said marks.
Yeah. Hey, Jordan says things are still happening.
I don't ever buy Call of Duty, so.
Jordan says things are still happening over there, so we'll keep an eye out.
Yeah, keep an eye out. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Reese says, just want to say I recently finished Phantom Hourglass and thought it was a great game that I encourage everyone to give a shot to if they have the chance.
Jordan, there you go, baby.
Absolutely. All day. Best Zelda game. I don't want to hear anything about it. It's the best.
Got to open your imagination. Best Zelda game, baby. Let's go.
Khalil's no message here. Thanks, Khalil. No. Chris says, happy belated birthday to MVG and Miss Click.
Thank you.
Birthdays. Also new Pokemon Snap setup, Jordan. Anxious for Resident Evil 8. I appreciate the entire Spawncast. Thanks, guys. Let's finish up there for now. Come back to those a little later on. Do we want to talk about Microsoft at E3? What we're going to do is, as we go along these weeks, we'll do a different company at E3 on the road to E3, since it's getting a little, getting E3 season soon. How far are we out now? 6 weeks?
Yeah.
6 weeks. 6 weeks. We're getting close. I'm hoping it's better than last year because, well, last year was a mess, obviously, when it came to any of this stuff. So just a much more concise flow of information in like 4 or 5 days. And we see a lot of these companies apparently come back together in a stream. There were talks, I think, that maybe they'd even try to do something really small in like not a convention center, I guess, or like a meeting hall or something. And I don't know how they're going to do this, but majority of it will be streaming. And I figure we would talk about Microsoft tonight for a little bit, because I think Microsoft has the most pressure on them out of the 3 companies, that being Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony. Sony won't be there, but they'll still do their own thing. But Nintendo's just kind of rolling along, and Microsoft hasn't released a first-party game since... What was the last first-party game that Microsoft released? Was it Battletoads?
Yeah, maybe.
No, Gears Tactics.
Gears Tactics on
Flight Simulator? Wasn't Flight Simulator after Gears Tactics?
When did Gears Tactics come out on PC? Because that's the one I'm counting. It was the first time it came out on PC. When was that? That was around the time. Was that around the time of Xbox coming out?
April
Xbox Series X?
It's April 28th, 2020.
Okay. So it came out on the Xbox around the time of the Series X. So if we go, no, it must have been Flight Simulator then. OJ, I think is right.
Yeah, I think it's Flight Simulator.
Yeah. So it's been a long time, and it's very likely going to be over a year that they just don't release anything.
August 17th for Flight Sim. So
it's possible.
Been a hot minute.
Depends on when either Psychonauts 2 comes out or when Halo Infinite comes out, because it's going to probably be one of those two that brings the next big first party release. So they've gone the entire generation so far, which has been 5 months without releasing a first party game. Like, they actually launched the system without it. And I guess there's been a lot of Game Pass, which seems to have been a way to tide people over. But now we got to get down to them announcing some games, right, Nate? It's time to get some games going on here. All right. So I think they got to come out here and they got to go big this E3.
Guys, the medium isn't for people keep on saying the medium's not first party game.
No, it's Bloober Team.
Yeah, it's Bloober Team and it's developer. Yeah. So I don't know why people keep on saying medium.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's not first party. I'm talking about like from Microsoft. All these studios they bought, someone's got to put something out. This is what I'm saying. Anyone. Yes. The medium is Bloober Team. They got the is it timed exclusivity or full exclusivity? I don't even know about that. That could be timed exclusivity for all we know. So the way I'm looking at it, we gotta see Playground put something out. What's the rumor right now, Nate? You mentioned this. What's the rumor? What do we got from them?
From who?
Playground Games.
Oh, you mean the Forza guys?
Yeah, Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah,
that's the rumor. I thought Forza Motorsport was coming out first, but apparently Horizon 5 is the next thing coming out, and it's in Mexico apparently.
I imagine Forza Horizon 5 will have a fairly big reveal at E3 from Microsoft. The question is really whether or not they're able to get it in for a release this holiday, or if it does kind of slide into an early 2022. I guess we'll have that answer in 6 weeks. But yeah, Forza Horizon 5, something definitely.
Are they bringing on stage this time?
And will it be made of Legos?
It will not be made of Legos.
Well, I don't want to see it then.
That was one was most exciting. The Legos, they had the Hot Wheels version. That was when it was exciting.
I mean, Forza Horizon is like a guaranteed a guaranteed 90, some odd score.
Yeah, they're always quality games.
Yeah, they're very good. Yeah, they're very, very good. I really liked Horizon 4. It's awesome. Good game to have on Game Pass, and they'll drive.
I mean, I preferred 3. I like the Australian setting more. Okay. I think I had a better soundtrack too.
I'm a little disappointed that the rumor is not that they're going to Japan with it. I thought that would have been really cool.
They are
It better
not
be like
going to
cartels
Japan.
and shit you got to avoid.
They're going to.
Keep it real.
Okay, so it's going to be in Mexico, apparently.
Yes,
Okay.
they're going to Mexico.
So Mexico is going to be the next.
Mexico is a lot of people I know, and they're disappointed they're not going to Japan and regions like that. But when you really think of what Mexico can offer in terms of landscape diversity, you got temples, you have rainforests, you have the coast.
Yeah,
You have
Like, it'll
so
be good.
many areas that you're going to be racing in. This could really create a very iconic, scene just for the racing spectrum when you're looking at all these environments. And I think it's a good choice for them to go into like Latin America. This is going to be a really engaging environment for us.
Here's the big question: is this game going to be on the VCR?
I would
It has to
imagine
be.
because it is launching this year, or if it does launch this year, that it has probably been developed with the Xbox One in mind.
So then, do we think for Horizon 5, which is a game that I would expect not to be developed for the VCR? I expect Motorsport because that's more of a track racer, whereas this would be an
Yes.
open world racing game. I figured the open world racing game would be for the next generation systems, and Motorsport would be on the VCR. But could it be reversed? Could Motorsport be on next gen? Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah, I think it would
so
be
strange.
reverse. But if you look at the patch they did for Forza Horizon 4,
Yeah, that's good, but I'm like,
we could probably get better than that with Forza Horizon 5 on the Series X and
but we're
Series
still going to
S.
think about that. It's like the VCR needs to be able to do this whole open world racer too.
I guess it also depends on how they use development resources. Maybe
Yeah.
they had a dedicated port team for the Xbox One version, and the core team made the Series X version.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. But that apparently is almost locked in now. I expect that at E3 as being one of the big reveals there.
Do
So
you think we'll get? I don't think we'll get any gameplay of Fable, but do you think there's any possibility of like even just a tease to show some of Perfect Dark?
I'm a little concerned that both Perfect Dark and Fable
Yeah.
they won't be shown until next E3. Like
Yeah.
Remember?
next E3.
Like I mean, I don't
Speaking-
expect them. I don't expect them anytime, especially not this year. But I would like just
Yeah.
to like be like, hey, we're working on just like a little teaser
Yeah.
of the gameplay.
I think they're going to tease different future projects from other studios at
Yes.
E3.
So there's a rumor about IO doing a
That will definitely not be at E3.
no that's way off. Like they just
That's
signed
like
the deal.
3 years off from even
Yeah.
announcing.
So you're thinking of some other stuff, Nate.
Yeah,
Is there
stuff
gonna-
that hasn't even been rumored publicly yet.
Ooh.
I think that will be stuff that we might see announced at E3, probably in the form of CG trailers. But I think Microsoft really wants to focus this E3 on what they have in the immediate. So you want to come out with your holiday lineup, be it Forza Horizon 5 and Halo Infinite. And maybe they decide to throw Starfield in their presentation and not have Bethesda have it.
I think
That type of
it's gonna
stuff. They want to show you why the Xbox Series X is going to have that software between June of 2021 and June of 2022, so they can begin to sell this system on those promises of software they showed us last year. Now is the time to show your cards. And Microsoft, probably of all the companies going to E3, I think they're the ones who are most prepared to really detail what they have coming out.
What were you saying, Jordan, with Starfield when that came up?
I was gonna say I think that there's gonna be some sort of Bethesda exclusivity announcement, whether that's a game we already know about or something that's hey, this is only an Xbox game.
I think it's Starfield. I think they're going to do it with Starfield.
That'll be interesting to see how it goes over.
There's also Hellblade 2 has kind of been silent for a while.
Yeah, and maybe it's about time we see that too, like completely gameplay and get a release date on that.
Everwild. What about that game?
We haven't seen anything from Everwild in a while.
I kind of think Everwild's still like, as weird as it sounds, I feel like that game's still not coming out for another 2 years.
Is that Rare game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Remember how
game
many
they
times
showed and then immediately came out and said, we don't even know what we have for a concept yet.
It was like, oh no.
I think we haven't talked about this. Maybe a game. I think they're going to really push Game Pass more. I think there's going to be a lot of surprise announcements for Game Pass games. The games that are going to be available everywhere else, but hey, play it first on Game Pass. I think that's going to be a big part of their
How
show.
about this one? Do they drop Persona 5 on Game Pass at E3?
I mean, yeah, Persona 5 Royal, or the another rumor is Tales of Arise will be Game Pass day one.
That'd be dope.
That'd be
Yeah,
pretty cool,
so
actually,
that would be really, really good because that game would sell 15 copies if it wasn't on Game Pass day one on there.
Yep.
So, like, I think that'd be like a big thing. So I think we're going to see a lot of that. That's what's going to carry their show along with the Halo Infinite. I think that's going to be like a big thing where they kind of just show Halo Infinite a lot at the show and then supplement it with Game Pass.
Dude,
I don't think we're going to hear a lot about other stuff outside.
Halo Infinite, dude, like that is so much pressure on it to not look terrible at E3.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think it'll be good.
I
now.
think it's fine this year.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
They keep giving us updates. They just gave us one where they showed new screenshots of Halo Infinite. It was the PC build, but you can tell the lighting has improved, the texture work has improved considerably, and I mean, even as of last year, the core game was content complete. So that means they've been spending this last year really working on the engine, optimizing it, improving textures, incorporating ray tracing, everything that was lacking in that gameplay demonstration. So they should be well equipped to really drop an impressive looking game. Yes, we're going to be able to tell the roots are still based in Xbox One architecture. But if they are able to deliver a solid, 60 frames a second, maybe 120 frames for multiplayer, who knows, ray tracing and all of that, I think it's going to still be, it's an impressive looking game. It's not going to wow us in the true sense of a next gen Halo game, but I think they're going to deliver a quality product in the end.
But
And the
it technically is a next gen Halo game because it's going to last it 10 years, boys. 10 years.
Apparently the multiplayer is gonna be free to play, and now that they don't have Xbox Live Gold up, I like for those free to play games, Halo will just be free. I guess people just download it and play it, like the multiplayer side, and it'll have crossplay with PC. So that actually will be a pretty interesting install size to see there for that game across the board.
Or
Is
maybe
Flight Simulator
even
dated yet?
That's just summer, I think. I think it's just summer. They could.
Oh,
that
Shadow
could
Drop?
be an E3 shadow drop for Game Pass. I could see that.
It's not a bad idea.
You know what? Oh, you know what they should do if they did Persona 5 Royal? I think they should bring over, because people don't know, like Persona 5 Strikers is not on Xbox. That's the
Yes, that's a good one to do.
Xbox fans would actually probably like Persona 5 Strikers more than Persona 5 Royal. I mean, like people like Royal, it's interesting once people first start playing it. It's a turn-based RPG. Obviously, you guys know how some people feel, especially here in the West, about turn-based RPGs. As great as Persona 5 Royal is, many people said, man, I don't even like Warriors games, but it's not really a Warriors game, but I don't even like that style. But Persona 5 Strikers was like super fun. So it's like a really dope action game. So I think maybe if they got like a combination of on Game Pass, if they paid them a nice bag for that, I think that'd be kind of
I'm
cool.
gonna tell you now. I saw the splits for Near Replicant in the UK between Xbox and PlayStation, and Bandai and Atlas better be taking all the bags they can from Microsoft.
Yeah, that's why I think Bandai Namco's, they're going to do it. They're going to take whatever they can. Square Enix has been, so like,
Square Enix is getting paid for Microsoft quite a bit.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely, because Nier's always been a PlayStation type of.
I mean, that's why I bought it on. It technically it's even better on the Xbox, and I got it on the PlayStation anyway, because that's just where I played Nier.
Microsoft also paid them for Automata as well. Nier, they paid.
Yep,
like
they did a better PC port. Yeah.
So FF7 remake. Maybe they share the announcement on Microsoft stage then.
And you know what? They drop it into Game Pass day one.
No, that won't
they
be
said
happening.
no. Let's hear why
not happening this year.
Interesting. Okay. So they
How
have
long
that.
is this
The remake will not be announced for Xbox in
How long
2020.
is that exclusivity date on that thing?
It's
it must.
expired.
Interesting.
It's expired, but
Expired.
Listen, what are you, a progressive commercial? Is that what all the aunts are?
I don't know.
But no, there's a lot of behind the scenes thing with that game. The PC version will be announced this year, but there will not be an Xbox version announced in 2021.
PC version will be announced though. Okay.
That PC version, if they do a good, oh my god, that PC version might be.
That'll be beautiful.
Sick.
Yeah, it'll probably look really good.
When is the new one dropping again? The updated version?
June. Yeah.
Yep.
That's when the DLC comes out with it, is right?
Yes.
Well, it's interesting. It's actually a PlayStation 5 game.
It's like it's not like like they did a bunch of patchwork and updates and stuff to it, so it's just going to ship as a PS5 game, or you can just buy like you get a free upgrade if you already have it on the PS4. You'll get that patch.
If you have it digitally.
Digitally.
If you have it physically, there's no free upgrade. It's really weird how they.
I don't understand this whole thing.
But can I still play the new story?
Yeah, you can't play it on PS4 though. There is no PS4 version of Final Fantasy VII integrated. You've got to play it.
So would you say it would be like kind of what Miles Morales could have been?
No.
Essentially, like
really.
if Miles Morales was only available on the PS5 versus the PS4.
I mean, I don't know if this Yuffie content is really going to be anything more than.
How long do you think it's going to be? Like,
you don't think it's going to be substantial?
It should be. The pacing of Final Fantasy VII Remake itself was so weird, where you had chapters that were like 3 hours and other chapters that were nothing.
Really long. Like there were some that were crazy long.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Yuffie content, if we buy it separately, if we just upgrade our PS4 version, it's what, $20?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
If you buy the
Yeah.
content. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yes, chat to let you guys know, if you have the game physical, there's no way for you to upgrade it on PlayStation 5.
That's
That-
only kind of.
You have to have a digital copy of the game.
Glad I bought
But
it.
if you
Glad I went for that. collector's edition, man. Crazy.
They came with a motorcycle, though, didn't it?
I did get the motorcycle. That is the plus.
I think Microsoft's going to get some third parties involved. I feel like they're just going to have what was that one E3? Was it literally the last one we had? Was that 2018, where they just did like reveal after reveal? 2018. They just kept doing reveal after reveal, and it felt like they showed us a ton of stuff, and then we went back and looked, and it was a lot of announcements. But it wasn't necessarily like a lot of like new first party announcements. It was a lot of like third party stuff they brought in. So I feel like at one point they had like 20 something announcements, and there were like a lot of third party stuff thrown in there. But I think either way they're going to have a lot of stuff, at least quantity wise, to show off. So but they got to show us why people bought a Series X from their first party studios at least.
I think
Excuse me. Sorry. Let me because chat's also, I want to make sure that I say this correctly. Sorry. Digital only PS5 owners. So let's say you have physical PlayStation 4, you bought the digital PS, there's no way to get it on there. So my bad. Because there's a large number of people that have digital only PS5s. So
I see what you're saying. You can't put the disc in.
Yeah, because you can't put the disc in, and there's no way to migrate the account. My bad. Let me just make sure that I clarify that 100%.
Okay.
yeah, if you have a standard PS5 with the disc, you can put in your PlayStation 4 disc and you can upgrade the game for free.
But if you have the digital only one, there's nowhere to put the
there's no alternate upgrade path.
Oh,
That's what I was. Sorry, my bad, guys. Sorry, chat. That's what I was alluding to, because there was a number of people that have the
gotta
digital.
make it so confusing.
I'm sorry, because there was a lot of people that have the digital only PS5. That's a people have that. You know,
why'd you have to go and make things so complicated?
Thanks,
Tell Square Enix that. Why don't they make it to where that's their fault?
Yeah, some of these companies having a weird time getting their upgrades.
Just tell me if I get the upgrade or not. That's all I'm asking.
You get it. You get it.
Do
Jordan.
I get it or not? Okay,
Jordan,
I
you
get
bought
it.
the motorcycle.
I put my
You get it.
disc
Get an
in the
upgrade with a
PlayStation 5.
motorcycle.
I get the upgrade. Cool.
Yes.
Thanks.
Oh boy.
But you have to spend $20 to get the Yuffie chapter.
Oh, come on.
They should just give it to you, Jordan. You bought the motorcycle.
I bought the motorcycle, man.
I like how this guy in the chat, Prom Mac, said, Phil Spencer, this next announcement, wow, is all I can say. Every time I see it, it absolutely blows me away. Proceeds to show a game I forget the name of. Like, it does happen a lot with Phil.
Yeah. Well,
He seems to be easily amused.
here's the last question. Do we have any kind of Nintendo Xbox crossover in their event?
I think there's only one person who would.
No, I don't believe it'll be at E3.
Not at E3. Okay. There you go. Not at E3.
But what about
Later on in the
Avowed?
year.
But you're saying there's a chance.
There's always a
Avowed gonna be
chance.
shown off?
There's a
What gonna be
chance.
shown off?
Avowed.
I hope so. I'd like to see that game. Like
We got the
like-
cutscene last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a chance we get an update on Avowed this year, because the rumor was, especially last summer, was that the game was further into development than a lot of people had suspected, and it's one of the reasons Microsoft made a move. So we could get some actual gameplay of it. Maybe they even just slap on a generic, summer 2022 release date. So first party wise, I think Microsoft is going to come out a little stronger than what we typically see. And I think they're going to focus a lot more on gameplay than pure CG that they have done in, past years. So
Okay.
it could
Other
be a very
question.
engaging show.
What's Compulsion Games doing?
That is the $1 million question.
That's a good question. I'm curious what they're doing, because they haven't. What they had? We Happy Few.
I have a question for Nate.
Hmm.
Hellblade 2, will we see it?
I think we do. I think it's time to see
we
it.
see it.
I think we get an early 2022 release date
It's
on
like
it.
the first game they showed us when they
It was,
announced
it was the first game they showed us, and we know Ninja Theory is also busy with Project Mara, another game we really haven't seen much of. So I think it's a good time for us to get an update on Hellblade 2 for sure. And if they can have that out, let's say next spring, I think that would excite a lot
Still
of
think
people.
it's that far out. You don't think it'd be like a holiday that they can get it out before the end of the year?
I don't think Hellblade 2 makes this year.
No,
think
I
it's-
mean, they
I
even
think
said
it's-
that was going to be 2022.
I think
earlier.
it's
Did
next
they?
spring or maybe
Next
later,
spring.
because remember it's Unreal Engine 5.
That's the one hesitation for me, is that Unreal 5's only really gone out to some developers, even in like a beta phase as recently as just a couple of months ago. So I'm not sure how smooth the transition has been for them to go from Unreal 4 to Unreal 5. So that's my hesitation as to when they could really date this game. I assume development has gone, swimmingly for them, but also, we don't know how COVID has impacted them. And every time they've talked about Hellblade 2, they ran the same trailer behind them while they gave us updates, and that's a little concerning that they haven't given us, any new teas, any new assets. But E3 seems like a good time for us, to get an update on that game. And I think Microsoft, if I were them, I'd be gunning for that. I'd want to show you a brand new trailer or some in-game footage of Hellblade 2, because we saw that in-engine trailer back at the Game Awards. It looked fantastic. Time for an update.
Maybe if Grub was here, we can figure out maybe if Elden Ring would make a surprise appearance. But
I think it's releasing at E3.
It's releasing at E3. Yeah,
that game is still a myth.
There's a lot of
If Elden Ring is to be at E3, I think it would be at Microsoft's show. If it's absent from Microsoft, then Elden Ring will not be at E3.
Okay, there we go. Fair enough. Evan, we got Discord questions over there.
We got a couple Microsoft ones. If Microsoft gets rid of Xbox Live Gold and rolls its online into Game Pass, would that inevitably mean they would shut down Xbox 360 servers? I mean, 360 servers are gonna get shut down eventually.
That's a good question, actually. Yeah, because I was like, oh yeah, we got to get rid of Xbox Live Gold. That is a good point, because the 360 is kind of tied to that. Isn't it, MVG? Am I wrong? But it's tied in some way to a lot of this with Xbox Live Gold.
Yep.
Do they just revert everything to silver and make that all free? I don't really know how that works there. That's interesting.
They could do that, but I mean, now there's pressure on them, right? Because Sony, extended their PlayStation 3 store closure.
Yes.
So if Xbox comes out and announces they're going to close the 360 store, that's not a good look for them. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out.
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. I'd like to see them just roll Xbox Live Gold into Game Pass and just say, all right, games are just free to play online otherwise here for Xbox, because that'd be really cool to see them actually do that. So I wonder how many people still connect to the Xbox Live with their 360. That's a stat I'd be really curious to see.
Probably not many.
I was going to say, I can't imagine there's a lot of people still using their 360, but I mean, there are still games that aren't backwards compatible. So like, there are probably people who are like, well, I'm going to load this up because it doesn't work on the Xbox right now, or Xbox One or Series X or S. Got another Discord question, Evan?
Do you think if the Series S or X will ever have a truly exclusive AAA game, which basically means no PC version either?
Oh, I think they're always going to go to PC because they want it to go to Windows.
Yep, agreed.
Like, I think they're just always going to do that. I mean, it's pretty clear whatever they do, it's going to Game Pass. Like, and then the Xbox and the PC and your phone are just kind of next to Game Pass. So
why wouldn't you have it go to PC though? I feel like you're like limiting a lot of people too.
Yeah, that's how Microsoft sees it anyway. It has to go to Game Pass basically is their big thing. And then
the only way that could happen would be a third-party developer who made it exclusively for like the Series S and X, and they just didn't prioritize a PC version.
Yeah.
Okay. So but like from Microsoft, I feel like they would get it on Game Pass.
Will always push for a PC version.
Yep.
They have to though, because they're not counting numbers for Xbox as much anymore. They want it on the largest install base that they have, so they got to factor in everything. So it makes sense for them to bring everything to PC. So.
I'll make it work on your phone too. So there you go. You got another Discord question, Evan?
Since MVG has worked on a Switch game, does that mean he has a dev kit?
Yes.
There you go. What a shocker. The developer has a dev kit. There you go. The confirmation from MVG himself.
Confirmed? Question mark? I was wrong.
I was wrong.
Can we see it?
No.
No.
Can't just hold it up real quick. Just be like, wow.
I mean, it just looks like a Switch. I mean, I could.
It does. There
could hold up a Switch
online.
and you wouldn't even know, man. So there you go.
What is the thought that counts?
Yeah. Khalil says, got the 8BitDo Pro 2 controller. Feels like a way better purchase than one Joy-Con since one of mine is drifting. Yeah, the 8BitDo Pro 2 is very nice.
It's solid.
Controller. Yes. Blue Knight says, I had a recent bout with COVID. The Spawncast collective content helped me through the hospital stay. Thanks to all of you. Oh, glad you're feeling better, Blue Knight.
You're feeling better.
For real.
Absolutely. Then, Blue Knight says, COVID is like a loot box from hell. The outcome is random, but never good. Get the vaccine if you have it and keep wearing masks for now. Don't let anyone talk you out of it. And then
I got my second shot, man. So I'm right there, bro.
Same.
How'd you respond to it?
Ooh, you don't want to know.
Well,
You're fine?
MVG wasn't fine.
MVD, I hit hard.
No, it was rough for me.
Oh no.
Had 102 fever the next day, and then the day after that, I wasn't feeling good for about 2 days.
I'm sorry, bro. I was outside lifting weights literally like an hour
Of course
after,
you were.
after it happened. I swear I was. I didn't feel it. It felt like nothing. I'm good.
It's all that Persona 5.
Liam says, "Do you think new Pokemon Snap will get DLC?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
cool
they'll
if they
add
did.
in more
Yeah.
Pokemon hands.
That'd be cool. Ross says, I am loving new Pokemon Snap, and I loved it on the N64. What I love is that it is a shooter that is not combat focused. I like that there are some rare games that expand to non-combat themes." Mark says, "RGT, what do you think of the Neo Geo MSVX compared to Arcade 1-Up Cab?"
I haven't gotten my hands on one of those. I hear that they're pretty good though. It's just like Neo Geo stuff. Like there was a Neo Geo cab at the bowling alley that my parents used to have like league bowling in. So like I loved Samurai Showdown and Metal Slug, but I never really got into Neo Geo stuff kind of beyond that. Like I played King of Fighters and some of their classic stuff, but I don't know, just it kind of limits when it's only just Neo Geo, because a lot of Neo Geo games, I'll probably catch heat for saying this, but I feel like they have like very similar styles to each other. And I mean, they are arcade games, so that kind of is a motif, but I haven't gotten my hands on. I hear it's good though.
Ian's Park says, "MVG Retro Tink 5X hype. Can't wait to see you cover it. Also, sorry, RGT."
Oh, I'll be okay.
Oh, and actually, Venicera then said, "Want to give a shout out to my friend Mike Chi and his amazing Retro Tink products. The Retro Tink 5X scaler just launched today and has the ability to downscale to analog signals for CRTs." People are really excited for that today on Twitter.
Yep, I'm looking forward to getting mine next week.
Wow, they're already shipping those out.
Yep, as soon as I ordered it, like 20 minutes later, I got a shipping notification. Like, this is the way you do it. This is how you do business, people. Ship that stuff out.
What's that Analog Pocket showing up?
October, I think.
All right. So right on track. Maybe. Black John says, "When you see Astrobot and Ratchet and Clank, is it possible Sony may be heading back to their platforming roots?"
Who do they have to make any of their old platforming games? They got rid of all those studios.
They did indeed.
Insomnia.
I still think. Wait, hold up. I still think that we could get something. Maybe in the future, far down the line. Maybe they bring back Jack and Daxter. Maybe a Sly Cooper comes back.
You know what?
One of these days.
I just watched them put a lot of money here
well?
into Ratchet Clank. Yeah, I watched them put a lot of money into Returnal just now. Let's put some money into Astrobot and make that like a full 3D platform. It's not tied to VR.
Oh, they're going to definitely do. I think they're.
Yeah, they'll do that. They wanted. That's why they included it on the PS5. They want everyone to look at that as like a mascot for the PlayStation brand.
Oh, I like the sound of that, because I think that'd be really good if they actually put some money behind that. Like Astro could end up being a mascot for PlayStation if they do it right.
Well, I mean, I looked at like the Ratchet and Clank footage this week, and one of my thoughts was, could you imagine a Sly Cooper game with this type of visual fidelity?
Sony's not going to imagine the budget they have to pay for that.
No, they would never.
I don't imagine
like,
that.
I look at that, I was like, imagine a Sly Cooper.
That'd be pretty cool.
Visuals. It would be amazing.
Jim Ryan's coming to your house right now. And
he's like, well, like, take my PS5. Like, don't give ideas.
He's like, he does not want to pay for that because the last Ratchet or the last Sly Cooper game flop.
I know that was Sanzuru Games. You got to go back to Sucker Punch and be like, listen, Sanzuru. You guys make good games like Infamous and such, but you have to make a new Sly Cooper.
And I'm telling you, they're not going to do it. Well, you never know. You never know. And I know what didn't Naughty Dog say that they would love to go back to Jack and Daxter? So they did say that. So maybe one of these days they allow them to go back.
After they remake Last of Us again.
Yeah.
Well
after the Last of Us remake.
There's some Last of Us news. I know it's a super chat question coming up, but there's Last of Us news. So
okay.
More Last of Us than anything's happening. So
Mark says, "What's the best collector's edition on any console that was released?" All right, Jordan, you're up.
Jump Force. I can surely tell you the worst.
Jump Force.
I don't really know what the best was. I think
Panty Raid.
Panty Raid.
How is it not Death Stranding?
I didn't get
that one. Is pretty good though.
I hate that fucking game, but I own the big.
Oh, here we go.
Copy of it.
I don't want that.
It's like Groundhog Day.
I don't want that stupid baby.
It's good
like
conversation.
Lou.
I love the game, and I love the game, by the way. Let's just get that out of the way. I love the
Leave
game,
Lou
but,
out of this.
I don't know. I don't know what the best would be. They're all kind of
okay.
crap. Not worth-
FF7, right? Jordan? Your FF7
They're
one?
never worth the price.
What about the Tony
Oh.
Hawk Pro Skater one where you got a board with it?
Oh,
That-
skateboard.
That was a
Good
good. You know
one.
what? That was a fair deal. That was
Yeah.
only $100.
What about Metal Gear Rising? It came with the lamp, the
I got that
electric
one at a
lamp.
discount. I have the lamp. I got that one at like $40.
Ooh.
Do,
What was
do
Fallout
you have?
76? Wasn't that bad?
Oh, that one was crap, right? Wasn't it? Fallout 76.
Fallout 76?
Oh, that one's
Yeah.
awful. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, you know what was a good one? If you the Octopath Traveler one, that one's pretty rare. I have it,
that's
and it's
cool.
like a picture book, like diorama thing that pops out. It is freaking phenomenal. That's probably my favorite special edition because it's so unique. You know, that's a pretty good one for me, at least.
This is from Worthy saying 180 million was invested in a PlayStation exclusive this year, and Sony is working with Chinese and Japanese game developers this gen. Yes, they're investing quite a bit of money into some of those big first-party games. So we'll see. I guess Ratchet is up, and then Horizon at the end of this year. And we'll
I
see
hope
what
so.
God of War looks like next year. Aiden says, just got off work. Nice to see you guys. Do you guys think Sony will ever give Insomniac the Jack and Dexter IP since Naughty Dog isn't going to do it?
I mean,
That would be cool.
that'd be fine. I
I'd be all
think
right with that,
Insomniac's more than equipped to handle that project.
They're on the Spider-Man too. So I don't know if
But
Jack and Dexter.
they have a lot of different divisions, a lot of people. They could easily get some other stuff done.
I wouldn't
too.
mind seeing them do that with like a smaller team, just see what they come up with. That'd be interesting. Tatum says, I'm not spending $100 plus on a controller without Rumble. Who spends more money for less features? Send a message by not buying. What controller is $100 plus without Rumble?
He's about the what's it called controller? The Power A. Is it the Pro controller or what is he talking about? Like Elite controllers?
Oh, the Power 8
Rumble?
Power 8 Pro Controller one.
It does have Rumble, does it not?
I don't think it
I
has
don't know what
half-
controller he's talking about.
I will tell you because I pre-ordered that controller already.
Is that over $100?
It's like 100 even, I think.
It's 100 even.
99. Yeah, so it's
I already pre-ordered that. And Sean talked about it. I was going to surprise people with it. Sean talked about it in a video. Ruined that surprise. Thanks, Sean.
Sorry.
I mean, that's fine. I'll probably put it in a video on Monday. I'll put it in the video on Monday. Tell people I already pre-ordered it for a video. Let's see. Oh, this is from Ghost Sniper. Jeff's not even here now. Jeff, I don't know, man. It seems like you've been making stuff up. Kojima, Lucasfilm, IOI, Starfield 2021, Xbox Live being free. I think you're biased. It's okay, but admit it, dude.
But none of those things are wrong. They're not fake.
That's true, because Starfield might actually come out at the end of this year.
Yeah, and the Kojima talking with Microsoft is a legitimate thing that has happened. The Lucasfilms thing, it's not just Grub reporting that. Other outlets have reported it as well as the IO Interactive story. Jez Corden was the original source of that. So
Xbox Live might legitimately go free if Game Pass grows fast enough.
If Game Pass can get to like 40 million subscribers, then Xbox Live Gold will likely cease to function. So that's a really weird comment. There's no bias. That's good reporting. That's what you want from journalists.
Y'all getting bolder.
M2 want to change Pro Controller button layout anyway to get around all the buttons only going in one way. Want to change Pro Controller button layout. I'm not sure what that. Want to change Pro Controller button layout anyway to get around all the buttons only going in one way.
I think he's trying to like. I don't know what he's trying to do.
Not sure. Or World says we need a Dino Crisis remake in the RE engine. That would look absolutely crazy. And I would like that.
I don't think anyone would disagree with that.
Jeffrey says, I recently acquired a 1X. How do you think Resident Evil 8 will look and play on it? Another Cyberpunk disaster. No, I mean, the RE engine's been pretty solid across gen. So
plus on the 1X, didn't that list of games and the resolutions say it was going to be 60 at 1080p maybe? So I think it'll be good.
Yep.
And I think the demo is up for that now, so you can check it out on your Xbox VCR.
Worthy says also Last of Us 3 has a plot, but it's not in the works yet.
Yep.
Mhm.
Last of Us 3 is plot outlined right now.
Yes.
So it may, even though it's not in the works right now, because maybe a supposed remake is, I wouldn't be surprised if their next game is just Last of Us 3.
I feel like they'd want that after, like their special airs and all this stuff, like the streaming
Probably.
series. like get people hooked in that, and then they're like, oh, now Last of Us 3 is coming out later on, eventually, like we'll announce that.
Last of Us 3 is probably so many years away. It's probably going to come out at the end of the PS5's life cycle. But
I'll get it announced. I'll probably announce like 3 years early or something.
And every E3, we'll get like one little teaser of a guitar being played, and they'll go, "All right, no gameplay again." It'll be fun.
Derek A says, I really like Returnal in the environment. Anyone else frustrated knowing when to get ready for reloading your weapons? Okay, yes, this is actually something I should have brought up, and I thought about this because obviously Housemarque's probably listening right now, so we should probably let him know. I think the issue with the reloading is a problem because when you are shooting, there's so much stuff happening on screen, and they put your ammunition right below your reticule. And it's hard to sometimes see it when all this stuff's happening to know when you need to reload. Yeah. I feel like if they moved it or they emboldened it or did something so you see it a little easier, because there are times where I'm just kind of unloading a clip and I'm like, oh, I'm out now. And it's too late for me to do the little animation.
Is there no audio cue? Normally you can tell.
There might be, but there's a lot going on.
In GTFO, the method for it is if you're using a fully automatic and you're out of ammo, you'll hear the clicking happen until you let go and then press again, then they reload. Would that be like something maybe functionally that would work?
When I'm playing, I noticed that though, because I'd like to know, because there's technically no I usually just shoot and then you stop and then your gun will slowly like recharge.
Well, I've been doing.
Yeah, but like I would like to know just how far down, like how close I am because sometimes there's there's a lot of stuff happening on screen. And you're just trying to get out of the way of things because they mixed in like the bullet hell shooter mentality to it at times. So you're just like moving around trying to get out of the way, and like it's like this light bluish green, and it's like a couple of dots technically under your reticule. It's harder to see. So
and it's transparent a little bit. And if bullets are coming, it can kind of just like everything kind of blends, and different guns have different guns have different patterns of that said thing, of your bullets. So sometimes you just get mixed up just by the sheer fact if you're using a different gun and like how it looks. So yeah, that would be nice because there's so many times where I mess up because it has like a Gears of War type of perfect reload.
Yep. You hit it at the right point, and depending on how like your I think adrenaline or your level at the time, the temporary level thing is going, it'll be like wider or more narrow. And when you actually hit that correctly, you'll get more powerful shots, and it makes things a bit easier. But like, I thought about it, I'm like, maybe I should just fire into the ground until I know it's like it needs to reload. I'll just reload, then go attack people. I had that thought too. So that's something they could probably do, is work on the HUD. These are all things that Hades put out the game in early access. They went through it and they fixed a lot of stuff, and then they released it. So just saying, we could have used I said it before. Could have used for a demo with Returnal. Just saying, could have used it like
fellers, lady. I have to go. I have something to attend to. Somebody asked a super chat for me. He asked if I would manscape him while he baked a cake for me. Chocolate cake with vanilla icing, and we got a deal. I'll see you fellas and ladies next week. Everyone have a great night.
Match.
Find me on RGT 85. Goodbye.
Oh my god.
He's a wrestler now. He's gonna go
all right. This is from Worthy saying Harold Ryan X, Bungie's boss, is now working with PlayStation for a memorable multiplayer PlayStation exclusive Operation Firewall codename. L. Emmons says Ratchet and Clank is not even co-op, so why a full $70? This is gonna be asked every time.
Well, from the gameplay that they showed us, it looks like not only is there going to be a lot of content, 20 plus hours, going through, but there's going to be tons of replay. It looks like it's going to use the dual sense controller, and the visual polish and look of the game seems like a super high quality game that people are going to be willing to spend $70 on. I mean, some people say this is the best looking game that they've ever seen, like just from art.
I believe it.
I believe it. I mean,
you're right, RJ. I believe in Insomniac here, so yes.
And if you compare Ratchet's in-game model and Rift Apart to the Ratchet and Clank movie,
I was literally about to say that this game looks better than in the cutscenes and in the actual gameplay than the movie did from a few years ago. Which is crazy to think how good the technology is.
I feel like a lot of people are just sold on Ratchet and Clank now. Like, there's like, yeah, we're good. Month and a half, we'll pick it up, $70.
I think it just looks fun to play. I think it's just something that's like, okay, it's not this, very serious shooter game. It's not this roguelike alien game. It's Ratchet and Clank. You've heard it before. It looks fun. The characters look like they're fun to.
OJ's right there. You can see that, like, I guess you call it the $70 polish. You can see
Yeah,
it. So.
and they're not capping on that movie thing. That's not a cap. Like, I'm looking at it again just because I remember watching it, but just I didn't think the movie was very good. And I'm looking at the screenshots, like the high quality, and it does look better than the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It looks better than the movie.
I cannot wait for Ratchet and Clank to launch on June 11th. That is,
And check this out, guys. This is a pretty cool concept. You can save your game and keep playing. You know what I'm saying? You keep your upgrades. You can just keep playing. I mean, it's awesome. It's such a great concept for a game, right? Like, in my opinion, at least.
Bummer Rob says, Evan's the man. He gets my trolley jokes. There we go. And then Bummer Rob says, MVG, a new Turok or a new Akami game? Only one.
Ooh. I'd probably take Akami, but the Night Dive people are going to kill me. So it has to be Turok, right?
No.
I'm going to go with Turok.
Akami, please.
Akami.
Raina says, big fan of the show. Tell Miss Click I'm looking super forward to Skyward Sword HD as a first-time player.
Hope you enjoy the story. It's a beautiful story. Yeah, that's exciting.
Trom says, Dante for Smash. Where's DMC4 for Switch? That's a good question. That should be cool to see that again.
Where is it, Nate?
that is a good question.
Where is
What do
it?
you mean? I don't make the games at
Yeah,
Capcom.
what happened to it?
I don't control output.
Where'd it go? Put it
You know
back.
something.
Hey,
Says,
Capcom has other Switch games to talk about.
Ooh,
Like
do
what?
they?
Oh.
You'll find out this year.
Oh, okay.
Make that next time.
No.
That's too bad. Hawk says, play RE2 remake first, Miss Click, and then RE7, RE8, then try RE4 and RE. Did you get all of that?
Oh my God.
Okay. Let's just go to Super Mario. This shouldn't be too long. Let's go to Super Mario Party because it got an update after 2.5 years or something. Like, just randomly, they were like, hey, you can play online now. Like,
Really?
2.5 years later. Out of nowhere, out of the blue. I mean, I did tell people about this, obviously. Is going to happen on Twitter, but out of nowhere, okay, you can play 70, I think it was 70 boards or 70 mini games, sorry, online. You can play all the boards. You can do 4 players. You can do team and all of this. I don't know why, but here we are. It now has multiplayer after 2.5 years.
I mean, I'll
Like-
take it. I'll take
Yeah.
it.
I mean, why not? But it was always weird because it was like, hey, Super Mario Party keeps selling copies. There's like 12 or 13 million sold. And we're going to get an update this week, I guess, towards the end of this week, where they're going to update that number again. But it's like, it's this really well-selling game, but it was always on version 1.0. And hey,
Yeah.
there you go. Now we
I mean,
can play online.
it's awesome, to be honest. I mean, Mario Party has always been, that game that has been local. The online hasn't really been like the main functionality and focus for it. So I think it's really cool now that, I'm seeing a lot of friends of mine and friends who hadn't bought Mario Party yet because of the lack of online. Now it's like they're going to go out and buy it and we're going to have nights together, even though we can't like hang out in person now because, with travel and just distance. So I'm excited. It's,
Sure. Yeah, it
take
adds
it.
more value to the game. Why not? I mean, it's cool. It's just, it's weird that they weren't like, oh, okay, let's do that a little sooner, closer to
Yeah,
launch. But
for
it
sure.
was brought up online. I thought about this. MVG, you let me know how plausible this is. The idea was, okay, they have to go through and they have to make sure all 70 mini games work online.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like a lot to do. I don't know if it's 2.5 years worth of a lot to do, but that does seem like something they may have looked at first and been like, I mean, how well is this? Is this going to be a 10 million unit seller? And here it is. So maybe they thought about that, but that's just something that was brought up. I don't know how.
Yeah, I mean, they would have to test all of them. And I think in that scenario, they would probably automate it. Like there'd be scripts that would automate that stuff and go through different test cases and things like that. So, I mean, yeah, they would have to do that. Otherwise, I mean, they would have to patch it after the fact. So I think they would spend that amount of time to make sure that those games work. That's a lot of stuff to test.
I was trying to come up with reasons as to why it took so. It is really all like, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it's Nintendo. They just be Nintendo.
It's just Nintendo. I mean, you never really know what they're thinking. What the process there is. I mean, I'm very, very surprised that this happened, but in another way, I'm not surprised at all that this happened. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things with them.
So here's the big question now. Okay, is another Mario Party coming? Like, are they going to do another one, or is this their
Probably.
update? Like, okay, it can play online now. You're good. We don't need to release another one anytime soon.
If this had paid content, then I could see them not having another Mario Party. To me, this actually says we're probably going to announce a new Mario Party within, the next year. This was just our way of kind of like, well, let's add a little longevity to that game that's selling well, but we're going to have a new entry and we're going to have this basic functionality available day one in the new version.
Yeah, they didn't have any new boards, and I was like, that's another thing people are talking about because they're only like 4 boards. So that was not having more boards added to it was strange. But yeah, maybe you're right, Nate. Maybe they're just like, hey, we've been working on this for the next one. Might as well add it into this one too while we're at it before release to get people hyped up with an update, because a free update's a way to advertise the game again, basically. So you might even see sales spike a bit on it just because of this, like we might see it in like an MPD report or even in Japan or something where it's like, oh, look, Mario Party, Super Mario Party sold an extra 10,000 copies this week or something.
Do you guys think it's too late though? Do you think this patch came too late?
Yes.
I mean, it definitely would have made more of an impact in the first year, I would say.
Yeah, maybe like last summer would have been a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. Like around the time that Animal Crossing was exploding because everyone was at home.
Yeah.
Because they could have even probably paired them together on the eShop, and it's like, these games are great for online multiplayer right now since you're all at home.
Well,
it's like Mario Party.
You remember Clubhouse?
Dude, Clubhouse is my game of the year from last year. I love it.
What?
I love it.
I'm looking. I cover the sales all the time with this game, and this game consistently sells whether there was crap online or not, and that's why everyone was confused. Like, how is this game still selling? This is mainly families just buy it. Super Mario Party.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a local based game.
It's I played it online today. Screw this game. Like, screw Super Mario Party. It's a horrible online. I hate this game. I absolutely hate. I played the online, and while it's cool, it'd be way more dope to just play it right there in front of somebody, and I'll only play it when I hit like a... Are you just saying that
because you lost, OJ?
No, everybody knows the same thing. This is how you break friendships, man. This game's trash.
It's basically Monopoly.
It's backstab when they're not next to you.
Yeah.
Like, this is a game that you play like with your kids so you don't get too mad. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
So if your kid beats you, you're like, all right, your kid beats you. If you beat your kid, but man, playing with other people is just frustrating.
I mean, it's cool to see it get that update. I mean,
no, it's a good update though.
Strange timing, but better late than never, I guess.
This out. We're going to 2010, guys. We got invites that are good in the game. It actually uses the invite feature. First Nintendo Switch online game, first party to use the invite system.
See, now maybe the next Mario Party, what they'll do is when a player rage quits, they'll just substitute that human player with a CPU bot and let everyone continue to play online instead of the game just crashing.
That's a good idea.
Does somebody rage quits from your friends, they'll do that?
Yeah, the game just crashes.
But that's why you can't play with randoms, right? So you have to make sure that people have like a stable.
I didn't know that. I think that's maybe the reason why you can't play with randoms, because the game would just be crashing.
Yeah, it would just be constant. It's like when you play with your friends and they rip the N64 cartridge out of the system when they beat you in a main game.
What kind of friends did you have?
Mark, like OJ said, you ruin friendships with Mario Party. They'll open the GameCube. Well, the problem is if you did the GameCube and you took the disc out, you just put the disc back in and you could keep playing. The N64, you rip the card out and...
You can play some games. You can play without the disc too.
Just imagine you play with randoms, and they like the first turn, someone rolls a 1, and it's just disconnected. Like, that's it. It's just over. Yeah, Nate, you really had people just pulling cartridges out of that 64?
That's horrible.
Yeah, we had intense games of Mario Kart. They'd lose the mini game, or it'd be like the last roll of the game, and they'd lose, and they'd be like, "Fuck!" and they'd rip the card out of the N64, and we'd be like, "Come on, Kyle, what the fuck?"
Yeah, I had a college roommate chuck the Wavebird across the room for Mario Party. We played the longest amount you can play on the GameCube for one of them, and
60 turns. It doesn't take forever.
Yeah, no, we played it for that long, and I got stuck in a corner on one of the maps. I couldn't get out, and I had nothing. I was just beating them all at mini games, and that was it. And then in the final round, I got that pachinko machine thing. I stole all of his stars and money. And then that was it. I just won in the last round, and he was so goddamn mad.
Yeah, I bet. I've had fights of kids back in the day, or we were kind of teens at that time.
You got all the raging hormones going on, and then you got your friend like Evan sitting in the corner who barely won any games, and then the game's bullshit luck system comes into play, and he wins, and you're like, no, fuck him, don't bring him over again. Get this fucking kid out. We're not playing anymore.
Breaking joystick or breaking N64 analog sticks in your palm from the N64, just like blissed, like you have a swirl right there. Like it was pretty.
Yeah. By the time you were done playing Mario Party, you'd be like looking at your friends, be like, "These are my friends."
You rethink your whole life after.
Yeah,
Mario
you'd be like,
Party.
"Look at, like OJ broke the analog stick on my N64 controller." Like, thanks. That's why I gave you the third party one, because I knew you were gonna break it because you can't take losing.
Give him that Mad Cast controller.
The one with the short handles on the side.
Yep, and the turbo button.
And the turbo.
All right, Evan, we have Discord questions, Evan.
We have one left. Could we expect possibly kind of like a 2D Metroid or an F-Zero coming in the form of similar to how Cadence of Hyrule happened, where it's a third-party company getting access to the property?
I think.
I mean, that's what the 2D Metroid would be. It'd be Mercury.
So
Yeah.
that technically will happen, I guess. Hey, this E3 is coming up. But as for F-Zero, I don't know. Who would you have make F-Zero?
They already reached out to the Burnout guys. What was it, Criterion? Way back in like the Wii U, and they were like, "We don't want to make F-Zero."
They said, "Wait a minute, hold up." One of the guys from there said that story was not correct.
Yeah, there was a lot of like back and forth on that. We had reports that it was true, then they came out and said that never happened, or it was just a pitch or something like that.
Yeah,
I
like
think they were thinking about it, I guess. I don't know.
that would be the perfect dev. It would be the person.
F-Zero, and they're like, "Yeah, it's me, the Wii U." They're like, "Yeah, go away."
That would be the only person that can make a game better than GX, in my opinion. Would be like they're the guys that.
That'd be cool. Yeah,
I don't think anybody can make a game better than GX. It'd have to be them, like, or it'd be like the Forza dudes, but it's not going to be them, obviously.
The only other people I would think of that are not even a team anymore would have been Bizarre Creations. They did Project Gotham, but they're defunct. So yeah, Criterion would be the only team I would really trust F-Zero at this point.
You could probably get a smaller one with like the Shinin or something like that, but would it be better than GX? That's my only thing. I just don't think it would be.
They probably have to have Nintendo work quite a bit with them then.
Yeah,
like, oh, here you go. We'll see you in like a year or two.
Shinin's only like a few guys. It's like 2 or 3 dudes.
They probably have to come in and like Nintendo would have to actually do a lot of work or outsourcing or something to make that
because
work.
As great as Fast RMX is, guys, GX is like I think it's 10 times better. Like,
Very good. It's very good. It still looks good on the GameCube too.
Yeah, I think GX is legitimately 10 times better than what I've not the knock on Fast RMX, because it's a great game. I played it with my daughter when it launched. We both loved the game, but like GX is just so good.
Do you guys really think though that Nintendo would give F-Zero to a third party? I mean, I feel like anything Miyamoto's under lock and key.
Yeah, they would. Well, they gave. Well, is it in the same boat as like Star Fox? If it's in the same boat as Star Fox, then yeah. Because they gave Star Fox a couple times now.
I mean, they technically did with GX. They just had some oversight.
Yeah.
So
that was Sega, right? That was Sega.
Yeah, it was Sega. So
what if they felt the need to redesign F-Zero completely? Like, we got to do something different. It can't be a racing game. Like, then would they still give it to another studio outside of Nintendo, or would they do that internally?
They would need one hell of a pitch from an outside studio.
Yeah.
But even then, I would see Nintendo still having some involvement internally with it, because it's pretty typical for them to have that type of level of control. Like, even when Metroid goes to a third party, Nintendo is still watching.
What if we finish up with Smash and Sakurai goes and is like, "Give me F-Zero."
Sakurai with F-Zero? I mean, I don't. He made Kid Icarus, which that was interesting, but he's used to making action games though.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, hey, maybe it's not a complete racing game. Maybe he makes the
vehicles transform into robots and fight each other on the track.
It's Need for Speed the Run. It's a half action, half racing, right?
Hey, you never know. You might be looking for something to do.
MVG knows what I'm talking about with the Run.
Good game.
Sorry.
Oh gosh, let's go to some of these super chats here, and we'll finish up with Sony sales. Wishbone says, "I highly recommend watching Mountain Monsters, the Ames team, Spawncast, and especially RG85." Sean is gone. The return. This is from Taker saying the returnal of the Knicks to the playoffs. Sean's also not here for that. Here's another Knicks one. That's from Victor saying the Knicks may be back, but do you know who else is? The one and only Jordan Fringe. Everyone go watch his lovely videos.
Thank you, Victor. I appreciate
First round exit, baby, for the Knicks. I can smell it. First round exit, baby.
Juice Man Vaughn says, "Is there any touches from Returnal that would work well in Metroid Prime 4?" Any touches?
Ship the game.
Yeah, the reveal. No,
The release.
you know, yeah,
Actual game.
Paris, I think it's just the setting. Like that's all. It's like it's this dark like setting in space, and like that's all I can really think of because it's not. It really doesn't play it like Metroid Prime at all.
There's nothing Metroid about this game at all.
I mean, I guess they have the idea of it's like the Metroidvania stuff where you get an item and then you can unlock a new path or whatever, or like get certain parts.
It's only aesthetics, just some bare bones aesthetics of sometimes the environment might look like a Metroid Prime-ish environment, and it's a blonde lady in a spacesuit. I mean, that's about it.
Like for me, Returnal is like Nex Machina in 3D almost. Okay. The way that if you look at Nex Machina, which is another Housemarque game, it's just a 2D twin stick bullet hell shooter. And for me, Returnal is just almost the same, but it's in 3D and with the roguelike mechanic.
This is from Robert saying, I watched ACG Skill Up and DF's review of Returnal. It looks to be as good as I knew it would. Housemarque has rarely disappointed. I always hope for a Dead Nation 2. This is from Chris saying, all of you guys, check out my cousin Nate at Crim Arcades. Great dude. CC, GTV, Retro Arch, anyone? And Chris then says, still waiting for Milo on Connect.
Oh, God.
Yep. So am I. Peter Molyneux, ship it.
Nick says, does Sean have to leave early to meet a Tinder match?
You never know.
He had a wrestling match he had to go to.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, wrestling house show.
That's what he's calling it.
Low 10 says, went from slim PS4 to PS5. I don't have a 4K TV, but I played my first game in 60 FPS. That's Infamous Second Son, and I'm never going back to 230 FPS. Bimbo says, we believe in degeneration. Brendan says, speaking of re-release in theaters, Lord of the Rings was re-released in theaters in Taiwan. If it gets re-released where you are, I recommend it. Humdrum says, why would you want Forza Horizon 5 Japan if it's cross-gen? I just think it'd be a cool setting for Forza Horizon.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, Fernando says, can we please have Miss Click grow a beard to match the aesthetic of the podcast?
Oh yeah, of course. Sure.
Right. It's easy, right? Click.
Anything for you guys. Yeah. Anything for you.
Bring back.
Let's go.
I appreciate all of you. What do each of you consider to be the best physical import game for the Switch? It's a physical imports game. Who?
Jeez.
Jump Force. I'm just gonna say Jump Force.
Fighting game nominee of the year right there.
Yeah.
It doesn't have English subtitles, so I can't recommend Famicom Detective Club, but I would have said that.
I did recently start importing all the Final Fantasies. Like I just got Final Fantasy 9 in, and it's like the horizontal box art.
Oh, yeah.
I just got that in. It's upstairs right now. I just got it. But it actually looks really cool. I don't know. I can grab it. It's horizontal. It's not like a vertical box art. It's interesting.
Final Fantasy 7 and 8 that has the physical import. That's pretty good too. Go get that box.
Now we can do whatever we want because the boss isn't here.
We lost the host.
What do we do?
Yeah.
I mean,
the ship is staring with no captain. We're gonna hit a nice
what about
bird.
any other physical imports that you guys have?
I got a list here. There's a
don't have
baseball.
anything.
There's a baseball one called GKO Powerful Pro Baseball. Super Robot Wars came out as a physical, I guess, from import.
Oh, Onimusha.
Yeah.
And Dragon Quest Heroes. No. Was it? No. Is it Heroes? The Muso Dragon Quest? And only in Japan?
Yeah. It's like the 32 gigabyte cartridge. It was like that one, but it's like that. It's not a good version of the game.
Yeah, it's
thank God
frame rate's a mess.
See, it looks like that.
Yeah, that box art's dope.
Yeah. So it's like it's not on the back it's vertical, but like on the front.
On the front, it's like so you can get like all the characters on there.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a whim of the internet for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was worth it. Final Fantasy 9 is amazing.
And that's a good box art.
That is a good box art.
Yeah, that's a very good box art. Physical games are great.
This is from Demi Crow saying, now that the P5U trademark was renewed, what do you think it is, or is it just to keep the trademark open? I think it's Persona 5 Arena. That's what they said.
I saw that story, and it's Atlas, so it could just mean nothing. And when they want to decide to do something on it, they will. but it could be an extra version of the game. It could be arena. It could be lots of stuff. I don't know. I don't know if Atlas is going to want to make an arena game at this point. Like, what's the market for that? You know, but we'll see.
Okay. Ethan says, I would like to give a big shout out to MVG and me.
Right on, Ethan.
Bluesican says, anyone watch Demon Slayer Mugen Train?
I haven't seen it yet, but it's on.
Yep.
I'm definitely going to watch it very soon.
Yes.
Sakon 10 says, did Bill Trennan tease an Ice Climbers reboot?
No.
Okay. Drum says, Nate, Lucasfilm Xbox rumor is true. This came from Special Ed Guy, which all of you cited for the Xbox Nintendo collaboration. Have him on, John. Jeff Grubb says, you're all a bunch of good eggs. Keep it up.
Aw, thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Jeff. Slope says, in my opinion, if I knew why a game costs X amount, like higher wages for devs cost devs, I'm more okay with $70. Instead, we see record profits coupled with layoffs, so the game's worth now.
The problem is devs aren't going to get to see any of that money.
Nope. No. Unfortunately not.
Take a look at Jason Schreier's recent article about CD Projekt Red and the bonus.
Oh, I saw that. That was, Ugh, that was not good. Katana says Microsoft needs to let Phantasy Star Online 2 come to PS5 already, especially since it's supposedly a timed exclusive game. Marky says, RGT, can you please manscape me? That was he answered that. Eternal says someone needs to ask Jim Ryan if he's ever rewatched his favorite movies. And M2J says meant change to Xbox layout for other super chat. Okay, so let's go over to the PlayStation sales to finish up here. PlayStation did report on their financial earnings that they have shipped 7.8 million PlayStation 5s, which surprised everyone because it's like rarer than any precious metal on Earth, apparently. So hearing that 7.8 million shipped, which is actually more than the PS4 in its first 5 months, seemed to surprise a lot of people because of that. So it is technically tracking ahead of the PlayStation 4 right now. But they seem concerned about this upcoming year that they will not be able to, that they're going to come close to the PS4 in its next full fiscal year, that being about 15 million PlayStation 5 systems. And it sounds like this generation is going to be really tough to start with for Microsoft and Sony to get these systems out at the pace that demand is looking for. So, I mean, I think their sales were good overall because they made a ton of money. And this is the first time I've ever seen Sony, and Daniel Ahmed posted a chart just to double check it, where they didn't lose any money developing a new system. They actually were still in profit even when developing the PS5 throughout. And usually they lose money every time. So it was pretty impressive overall for the amount of sales they have, minus the issues with, I guess, just production going forward. And I also noticed one other thing. The PS4 actually now has sold the most software of any system ever made. That includes the PS2. 1.577 billion pieces of software, which is extremely impressive overall, because that's not normal. Like, getting over 1 billion isn't normal for a system. I think the PS3 is the only console Sony's made that has not gotten to 1 billion. That was like 997 million, so it was very close. But I think Sony is the only company that's gotten above 1 billion units of software on any system.
Yeah, because the Wii, I think, only got to 900.
The DS is the closest. The DS is the closest Nintendo's gotten. I think it was like 950 million. But the PS1 got there, the PS2 got there, and the PS4 got there.
Yep, the DS was 948. The Wii was 921.
Oh god, the PSP is so sad. Have you seen the PSP? It's like they had like 80 something million sold, and they've only did like 300 million of like software.
Yeah, piracy.
Just hacked it. Everyone just hacked
Once
it.
piracy hit the PSP, that was it. It was over.
No one cared. Yeah, I mean, it was a really cool system to hack. Let's be real.
Well, I mean, you can say that, Nate, but I mean, the PS2 is probably one of the most pirated systems ever, and look where that ended up. You know, it's not just piracy. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the way Sony was marketing handhelds. I don't think they ever really knew how to market those handheld systems.
Yeah. They didn't, but a lot of there was definitely a surge of PSP sales in certain regions that were just primarily fueled by hacking and the homebrew scene. But I mean, I guess you could also argue like the PS2 was a DVD player for a lot of people. The PS3 was a Blu-ray player for a lot of people.
Yep.
Yeah, but the PS2 still sold a ton of like the reason that was news because it got just above the PS2, which sold like 1.554 billion units of software. So like the PS4 just passed it, and the PS2 sold a lot of systems, obviously. To get
the PS4 is still going too. That's the thing, you know, it's still selling.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I mean, the PS4 could legitimately be around for the next 2 or 3 years, for all we know. So I do want to give some credit to the PS2 though, because the PS2 did not have a digital store, so it sold all of those physically.
Yeah, the PS2 didn't have any dollar games, PSN sales. You know what I mean? Like anytime that you got to sell, like you got a discount, it would be like, okay, you bought it used at GameStop or something like that. So the fact that it was able to sell that many games is actually super impressive. But I'm not surprised by like the PS4 selling that much because, like you said, there was a PSN store to where you can get super cheap games. But yeah, Sony's always been on top of that, man. Like they always sell like hella games every single gen.
The default system, Madden, any of that stuff, you're gonna probably get it on the PS2. I mean, the Xbox did kind of 360 specifically kind of mess things up a bit for them, but like for the most part, a lot of people are just buying a PlayStation to get the default like games like a Call of Duty and all this. So it worked again for the PS4 generation for them. So the PS5 will be an interesting one because it's $70 games now. So.
Yeah.
See how that one goes.
$70 games, and it doesn't seem like if the price drops aren't there, because obviously the PS2 and PS4 heavily aided by games just being super cheap, just even in general, just games just getting fat discounts quickly. So it'll be interesting to see if they have that same type of effect, like 3 years from now or 4 years from now, like how the landscape looks.
Actually, here's a good question right before we finish up with some of these last super chats, do outros. Do you think the PS5 will outsell the PS4 in terms of systems?
What's the PS4 at right now?
116 million, I think is what they just reported. 116, 116, I believe. It actually sold 1 million PS4s, by the way, in the last quarter, which is weird.
I don't think it will, only because just like the PS4, like with the price and what they're doing, it was just cheaper from the beginning. So I think they'll get close, but I think they'll fall just a little bit short.
I think the big factor for the PS5 to pass the PS4 is going to be the emerging markets like China. If Sony's able to get in there even a little bit, they might be able to make up the difference that they'll see in sales decline in Japan. So they could come close. I could see the PS5 doing 125 million.
Okay. Okay, so you think it potentially could actually?
I could see it pass it. It's really just going to come down to those emerging markets, and if like the Middle East, which has been very strong for Sony, remains strong for Sony, if China's emerging market is able to blossom further, and I mean North America and Europe, they still remain very powerful markets for Sony, especially Europe, like the UK. But I don't know how much expansion is going on in the European market right now. But I could definitely see the PS5 doing comparable or better than the PS4.
Yeah, I think it'll be close. The reason why I say I'm not sure is just because the competition is just a lot more. You have the emerging markets, yes, but the competition is a lot heavier. Let's just be real. PS4 almost ran unopposed last gen. Like it was pretty much just them by themselves because Wii U flopped out of the gate. Xbox kind of flopped out of the gate too and didn't recover. So Sony just basically was just
hung out.
It was just them. Now you have Switch, and if Nintendo releases like another one, right, like a Switch 2, Xbox has Game Pass. They have a cheaper system when they can finally get systems out. Just not be able to produce them. So I think the competition's a lot heavier. So it could be more like in line with what we saw with like the
that. And you have a lot of things like mobile games really taking over. Fortnite's on mobile, and it sounds weird to people because like you're plugged in, listening to like podcasts like these, but dude, you see so many kids playing Fortnite constantly on their phones, and they're like, what do I need a console for? It works on my tablet. And all of us are like, oh my gosh, but like they're playing it all day.
I'm telling you, I asked my daughter, I was like, hey, she likes video games. Like, you want to play PlayStation? She's like, nope. She's like, she's got Roblox on the phone, and she's driving around and doing GTA type of stuff. It's like, and that's how all of her friends roll. Like the 10-year-olds, 9 and 10-year-olds, they almost don't care. Now, obviously, we have some of us that have kids. We let our let our kids play the same stuff. But for the parents who don't, which there's a lot, they're just growing up with all digital, all smartphone, and so that can really shape the next 7 or 8 years when those kids become teenagers. Will they get into gaming like we got into it, or will they still just be mobile?
I hope so.
They might not. They really might. Look at the evaluation of Roblox.
they're just missing so much, though. Like,
but are they? Have you seen
they
mobile?
are.
You see all these companies looking more into mobile. I mean, Sony's like, yeah, we're looking at RPs there. Nintendo is obviously making a push to mobile, so it's like they recognize it too. We'll see.
But did you see the Fortnite numbers that came out? And I was amazed to learn that 50% of Fortnite revenue is generated from PlayStation.
Yeah, that's not surprising though, because I feel like no, that sounds about right. I mean, think about like OJ just said it, they ran on a post, so like everyone was just buying.
I know, but when you think of like Fortnite on all those other platforms, PC, mobile, Switch, but like PlayStation is the leader.
You buy a PlayStation at the time, you didn't have to use the online, the PlayStation Plus for it or any of that.
Exactly.
And finally did it, and it's like you buy them the PlayStation, they go play Fortnite, and they'll leave us alone, right? And occasionally give them some money for skins or whatever.
It's the best option because Microsoft just changed that policy. PS4 was cheaper, right? PS4 was cheaper. It was just you can just pick up that and then play Fortnite. So it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me because it's the default.
There and your friends are there, then their friends are going to be there now. They're going to, so it just spirals out of control for that. So it kind of makes sense. I get what you're saying, Nate, because once it went on phones, everyone was like, well, that's where the majority of the money's coming from. But
yeah,
apparently not.
It was a shocking data point to see. I was like, wow, this isn't the way I would have thought.
Also makes you realize why Sony was so willing to hold out a bit there.
Yeah, what did they give Epic, like $500 million or something?
They didn't want to do cross progression. Remember that?
And that too.
Do that? Well, yeah. If I was the one who was counting for half the revenue, I'd be like, yeah, wait, hold on. Why are we doing this? Hold on.
And this might be an extra thing, but this is just from me having a daughter that's old. Like I lock microtransactions on her phone, whereas kids on their PlayStation stuff, chances are I think parents are letting them have it like on there, so it's easier for them to buy on PlayStation than it is on their mobile device, because I've locked her mobile device because she bought like 10 years worth of SpongeBob stuff one time and I almost had a panic attack like when she was like 6. So I was like, how do I make this to where it stops buying stuff?
Oh no.
This is from Farouk saying, given Halo Infinite multiplayer will be free, if it will include a battle pass model, could it be a Game Pass ultimate perk? Yeah, actually that's not a bad idea. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it'll have some sort of battle pass. It'll have something, obviously. They're going to go the Fortnite route most likely with a lot of that. Roland says, hello, Spawncast crew. I have a question for John. Is right to repair bill relevant to independent console repair shops? Yeah, I would say it is. Yeah, because it's right to repair. That's something I've been keeping up with here and there. I know it's been a big fight with a lot of these manufacturers, especially Apple is a big one, and I think Samsung. They do not like people fixing these things. They want you to buy another one or go to the Geek Squad. This is from Marky saying, Nate, what were you saying about Ratchet and Clank? He said it was good.
What? I said it's good.
Yeah, it was good.
What were you saying about it, man?
I'll tell you,
it looks amazing. I can't wait to play that game.
And how else do you feel?
No, I'm dropping $70 on that game day one.
There you go.
I can't wait to play Rift
Nate's
Apart.
spending money on a game. That's crazy right now.
I bought new Pokemon Snap.
Well,
and I rented Returnal. And I'll buy Resident Evil 8. And I'll buy Ratchet and Clank.
Whoa. Hey, you
what about Biomutant?
What about Biomutant?
Biomutant disrespect, man.
Is that even actually coming out this month?
It's on the 25th.
Yeah, so they say, that game was supposed to come out this day, and then it got delayed, and it's supposed to come out.
I think that
get it delayed.
People, okay? I think it's going to surprise people.
Yeah, it's surprising that it's releasing.
What? No, I mean, like they said it was going to. They told us about the date a couple months ago.
I bet it gets delayed.
What? How's it going to get delayed if it's coming out in like 3 weeks?
They canceled Fantasy. What the hell was that game from Level 5 for the Xbox? They canceled the game the week it was supposed to launch.
No, this one's coming out. They've been spending too much time on Biomutant. It's coming.
When's the last time we actually saw like footage of this game?
2 weeks ago. They put it on YouTube.
Meaningful footage.
I mean, it's the environments and everything, and they showed gameplay the week before that. They've been actually dropping videos every week about this game. I'm not saying it's gonna be like game of the year or anything, but I think it'll be a good, what's the term, AA game kind of thing. Like I think it's gonna fit in that there, but I think it's gonna be fun. So I'm looking forward to it. Andrew says thoughts on Monster Hunter Rise 2.0. What's your favorite monsters? We talked about what's favorite monsters. What do you think about, Evan? Why don't you hit us with that real quick cliff notes on 2.0? Did you get a chance to look at it?
Yeah, I played it a bit. I mean, it's just slightly extra stuff. It's nothing really major so far that I've run into. I'm definitely not the full way through it, but I think I'm like hunter rank 40 or something right now.
Okay.
It just, I don't know. It doesn't feel impressive.
You're looking more forward to the story stuff that's next month?
Yeah, I think that's next month. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, mainly right now it's just gonna be like your layered armor stuff, and then the hunter cap, and with the few additional monsters. I think I'm 35 or 36, but yeah, when the new story stuff gets added in, that'll be the bigger deal.
That's
I think.
Big drop. Yep.
Yeah.
Hectic says willing to pay 70 or no choice but to pay 70. That's every new Sony game Pass, no choice. Just play. That sounds complicated, right? Yeah, it does. Let's go over here to Click. Where can everyone find you as we finish up? I'll finish up the super chats and I'll check the Streamlabs as well before we sign.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. You can find me here on YouTube as Misclick Gaming, or I'm live almost every day on Twitch, Misclick_live. Other than that, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter as Misclick.
Gravity says, with all of the attention Miitopia is getting, do you think Nintendo would put a spotlight back on the Mii-style games or put Miis in more games? I don't know. I mean, I think Miitopia is just fine for that.
Its own thing, yeah.
Which some of the stuff people are coming up with is pretty cool. The art says, so I'm pretty sure Majora's Mask won't be a part of the Zelda celebration. I wish I got more love from the fans since it's seen by Nintendo like Galaxy 2. It's really unique and trimmed the fat of Ocarina of Time. I did like Majora's Mask.
Galaxy 2 wasn't part of the 35th anniversary because the controls with the Yoshi. Majora's Mask doesn't have any inherent control problem.
All right, there you go. Majora's Mask. It's going to be there.
I'm not saying it's going to be there. I'm just saying it doesn't have the same obstacles.
Okay, that's fine. Brendan says, speaking of classic Nintendo racing franchise, can we get a new Wave Race at some point? Wave Race 64 is every. Oh, Wave Race would be cool.
Or 1080.
That's one you can give to a third party. Give them Wave Race.
For sure.
That's fine. Zaire says, do you think COD will skip this year? If not, will it be multiplayer only like Black Ops 4? I think they're going full force this year, and I feel like that's why Toys for Bob got moved over to Warzone. They're just like, we got to get this. This has to be out this year.
But everybody's everybody's just still playing Warzone. Like, no one even liked Cold War that much.
Yeah, but I mean, like they still people are still gonna buy it. Like, let's be real, it's gonna sell really well.
Yeah,
it's not like I think the past 2 years of Call of Duty are in like the top 5 for the MPD every month. Like they're gonna get to the point where they just have all Cold War did well. Top 5. I think we had they all did well. They all just sell well, and like then people move on to the next year, and then that was well.
Activision doesn't put out a Call
in the US, it does really well. Like
if they don't put out an actual new Call of Duty title in general, besides Warzone, I just think shareholders and their internal stuff would not be pleased. So they just need to put out something, whether it's just a campaign or some sort of other type of thing that's not just Warzone.
I don't remember
unless they're really all in on only Warzone and want to make it even bigger. But
I mean, I think it's interesting that even though they've had the Cold War come out, that even like their biggest streamers, like basically what helped keep part of that community alive, they just went back to Warzone.
I believe
it's a better streaming game too, though.
Yeah.
Warzone.
Yep. Jeffrey says, what's the best video quality hookup I can get for my Casio Loopy MVG? I challenge you with cable and video hookup knowledge. Oof.
Composite, unless there's a way to RGB mod a Casio Loopy, which I have no idea about, but I know on the back is composite, so that's probably your best option.
MVG, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Modern Vintage G and on YouTube at Modern Vintage Gamer. And thanks for having me on. And check out my video on Monday. I'm still working on it.
What about OJ? Where can everyone find you?
You can find me right here on YouTube. I stream daily. I also edit content, Nintendo JRPG stuff, do some health and fitness stuff as well. Come through if you can. Thank you for having me on once again, John. I do appreciate. Thanks to everybody here. You guys are all awesome friends of mine. So thank you for having me on and everything. I appreciate it.
Good to have you on, as always. And this one's from Shinru for Evan saying, hey, Evan, just wanted to say thanks for teaching me about customizing builds for Monster Hunter Rise. Can't stop the grind. Please send help. Evan, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter. My streaming schedule is getting hectic, so if I ever go live, I'll be putting up info there. I'll try to keep going Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This week will most likely be more GTFO because that game is pretty goddamn fun. So having a lot of good times in that.
Jordan,
Yes.
where can people find you?
You can find me, Jordan Fringe, on YouTube. I've kind of come back, trying to do 1 to 2 videos a week here right now. Currently talking about cartoons, older TV shows, and stuff like that interests me. Put out 2 videos this past week. I have 2 more planned as of right now for next week. We're on that push to 50,000 subs. We're a tiny bit over 5,000 away from that. So,
very nice.
Yeah, so we're pushing towards that.
Check out Jordan.
Check it out.
Check it. This these are some Streamlabs. This one's from Mr. Stud Muffins, donating 420, saying spreading the wealth, Dogecoin to the moon. Mr. Stud Muffin, then again another 420, saying Sonic Unleashed is a good game and has the best modern Sonic gameplay. This is a hill I will die on. And then Mr. Stud Muffin again saying, lastly, love this podcast, makes my overnight shifts more tolerable. So I appreciate you all for it. Wish I could donate so much more, but now these small meme amounts will have to do. That was for $169. And then Liam's with $1 says, do you think the DS versions of Diamond and Pearl will drop in price when the remakes come out? Right now, you can still find a new DS game for 30 to 40, but Diamond and Pearl used goes for close to 100 sometimes, 18 million sold.
Probably just going to keep going up.
Yeah, I think right now Pokemon is so hot, it's just going to keep, like, the way I see the cards and the merchandise, Jordan's right, it's going to keep climbing. A lot of the Pokemon, even like the Pokemon GameCube games keep going up, and I thought those were going to start to drop when we get past like this holiday, but I don't know. Farouk says, given whenever that one, and then did I get everyone here? Did I get everyone? Nate, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Nate the Hate and on Twitter at Nate the Hate, followed by the number 2. MVG and I have an episode up right now talking about some of our predictions for Nintendo's upcoming fiscal year report, as well as some of the plans Nintendo may have for the current fiscal year in terms of software releases. We will have a new episode next week as well, so people can look forward to that.
Okay. JD Fisher says, OJ, thanks again for always hyping up P5 Royal whenever it comes up. You convinced me to finally play it. Finished a couple nights ago, and WoW is my new favorite JRPG. Now on to Strikers. And Jordan, love the new videos. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Persona's fantastic. It's one of the best games I've ever played too. So yeah, Persona 5 Royal, it's an awesome game. Go play it.
Shinru says, evening everyone. Could everyone who has played Returnal say that Hades is better than it? Yeah, I would say so.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Hades kind of crushes it. I don't think it's close. I guess I was talking about that earlier, and people were kind of like, what do you mean? I'm like, no, Hades is just better.
Shinru says, off topic, I've spoken with Nate on Twitter about a crazy idea that probably won't happen, but hear me out. Eternal Darkness remake or new entry done by Kojima, Switch exclusive. What do y'all think? That would be cool. And that'd be such a cool world to live in, but I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Yeah. Hey, it's too good for this world. Nothing that perfect can exist in this world.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us on Spawncast. We'll be back next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. See everyone then.
The perfect game.